indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With that, you may be seated. Roll call of members, please.
Mr. Jeter, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Tipton, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Herron, District 3.
Here.
Mr. Bricky, District 4.
Here.
Mr. Mann, District 5.
Here.
Ms. Hood, District 6.
Here.
Ms. Kruby at large.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. Next item is item 4, approval of the agenda. Do we have any additions or amended or anything, Ms. Starnes?
Not that I'm aware of.
Need a motion to approve the agenda as presented to
I'll
you.
make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Tipton made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Herron, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next item, to approve the minutes from the March 3rd, 2021 meeting. So do we have a motion to approve the minutes? If you've had a chance to look at them, hope you have. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Bricky has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, Ms. Kruby, second. In discussion. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Next item is the citizen expression period, and let me read this little statement before we do that. The citizen expression period is upon the meeting when anyone who wishes to address the board or staff may do so. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and state your name, where you're from in the county, and or what organization you represent. The board may or may not respond to anything you say, but we will take everything you say into account when making future decisions. Please keep your comments concise and business-like. If no one has signed up to speak, has anybody signed up, Ms. Starnes?
They have not.
And no one has? Okay, well, we have no particular order. We just ask that you take turns and speak your business. Any action will be considered after we close citizen expression. So we're going into that. If you're on the agenda somewhere on down the line there somewhere, we'll get you up here. But if you're not on the agenda, you may come forward and speak at this time. Good morning.
Good morning. My name's Jim Glover. I'm from Nicholville, and I appreciate y'all's time to listen at me this morning. I've got a request to make. We lost our Masonic Lodge building up there during this pandemic. We had a water line break. Nobody was in the building, and it about destroyed our kitchen and dining room, and our building was falling in. And we decided it was unsafe to meet in, so we had it torn down. And we're going to build a new building right behind it. And I've talked to David Gilmer, and David said that since we're a nonprofit organization and we're operating on very limited funds, that it might be beneficial for me to come down and ask the Board of Supervisors in the county to waive our fee for the cost of the building permit. So that's what I'm here today, is to ask you if you would take that into consideration and think about waiving our fee for our permit.
We will sure consider it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Lanny Bryan. I live in Hilton, Virginia. I'll try to be brief with my concern. In the last few days, we've been talking to Marshall. I live right there near the old food center. I live to the right on the 58 side, and they're going to put a dance hall and a game room, and have band, live band, and all that's coming to help us, I understand. And it's going to be pretty loud there for me. And the post office is right there near where the old food center is. It's all on the same roof. And the post office stays open 24/7 in the lobby. And I've got some concerns about people coming in there, blocking up the place where you get to the post office. Some people come to the night and get your mail, puts mail in and all this. And, I don't know how all that's, the lease is set up. The guy that's leasing this to, the guy that's gonna put the dance hall in owns the other part too, so there's gonna be a kind of a mix-up, I believe, there, as far as traffic, and, it's gonna be quite a bit of aggravation for me, not only me, but some of the rest of the people coming and going there. And I don't know what's gonna come on down the road. Marshall may have more information, but I just wanted to step up and, you know, and tell you that it's not gonna be good for me.
I'll just add to it, if it's okay, Danny.
Yes.
Or Lanny. Yeah, the Silver Spur, that's what you're talking about.
Well, it's gonna be something similar to that, I guess. I don't know.
Well, no, it's going to be the Silver Spur.
Oh,
It's going to be the Silver Spur. And they're in hopes of getting their ABC license, you know, too, as well. And that's all I'll say at this time.
Well, I've lived there all these years, and I've had a lot of problems. People hanging out around the store, just, you know, come to the store and they'll hang out, not even in the dance hall or nothing as far as that goes. But I've had my house egged and different things in the past, you know, over the years. And where you get a bunch of people gathered up, I just got big concerns, and other people has, but I'm gonna speak up to you all, because I say you hadn't heard the last of this yet. But I don't know as far as all about the post office and all that stuff, you know, it's in the same place. And I'm not sure people would want to go down there to get their mail, and a bunch of people hanging around, you know, couldn't get in there to park and things, and it's just gonna be, it's not gonna be a plus for the community, I feel like. And I just wanted to share my concerns, and thank you for your concerns. Appreciate the board listening, and appreciate that you got this time when I can come down here and speak up, because it's time to speak up sometimes, you know, when things get to happen. So,
Well, I appreciate you coming down. I think, you know, one of the biggest concerns will be the schools within just a few hundred feet of it. And there's like 4 churches right within it, 1,500 feet, so.
well, it's just, it's not gonna be a good situation. I just wanted to express my views. Thank you for listening.
We'll discuss it more when we come out of citizen expression period, but we'll discuss it more.
Okay. Okay.
Don't leave, okay?
Okay.
All right, once you say a few minutes, then we'll discuss it here in a few minutes. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right, with that, we will come out of this expression period, and this fee, we do this occasionally for churches and so on. I think the Masonic Lodge there, that was an asset to Nicholsville to have that there, and I hate to see it torn down, but for obvious reason they had to. I don't see any issue at all with waiving the building fees and permit fees to do that. So, Jerry, that's your district. I know you're well aware of what they're doing there.
Yeah.
So if you want,
Yeah, it's actually gonna help everybody there in Nicholsville, not just the Masonic Lodge. It's gonna give the Methodist Church a place to park. It's gonna give Nicholsville, when Nicholsville Days come back, not if, but when it'll come back. They give places to park for them, but it's gonna be a well-used area after they get it done. But I'll make the motion that we waive that fee for the Nicholsville Masonic Lodge.
I second.
all right. Is there any discussion? And I think it's pretty clear cut what we need to do with this. I mean, it's a right thing to do. So we have a motion, have a second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So thank you for coming, Mr. Webb. Mr. Bright was here on his concern about this. I heard about this thing going on at Hilton's. I don't know. Sally, does that go before the planning commission before it ever gets to us?
I'm afraid it won't, because it's zoned commercial and a dance hall isn't allowed use. So
Yeah.
there's no regulation under zoning about it.
Okay. how can we proceed with this? I mean, I don't know, I know where it's located, probably wouldn't be a good idea for it to be there, but if we don't have anything in place, what can we do to, I mean, I'd hate to say any business, we're gonna do something to stop them from doing what they wanna do. It's their, you know, your property, people have property, their rights are pretty, you know, important to me, but,
I'm not sure that there's anything you can
Danny?
do.
yes, sir.
So what we're doing at Hilton's is, I've been bombarded with emails and phone calls, so, we're forming, they're forming, I guess I should say, a ministerial group, you know, / educational group, and we'll see what comes of that. They too know that what the attorney just said. So there's some other avenues, you know, that can be approached and discussed. And that's about all I'll say right now.
Any other ideas from you folks? I mean, I don't know what, there's nothing there. I mean, that's what the zoning and the, we have that in place is to, you know, to allow certain things and not allow certain things. So if it's allowed, I don't know what we could do, really.
Yeah, because of the, is a change of venue required? And
I
that's
think-
something that the building inspector handles, right?
When the building is a change
Right.
of use,
Yeah,
he's brought into it.
yeah. I think the biggest thing is when the ABC license, when they apply for it, and in my understanding, you know, that's what's going to happen, and so we'll see. There's major blowback in the community already. Lanny is not the only one. Sorry, Lanny, I called you Danny for some reason.
I don't mind.
We got Danny over here, got Lanny.
I'm okay with that.
So there's a lot more than Lanny, you know, that's concerned about it too. I appreciate Lanny coming down and voicing his concern about it. And that's what others need to do, you know, is voice their concerns about it. They should not feel like that there's nothing they cannot do. It's their right. So, and I'm concerned about the school that's within just a few hundred feet, maybe 500 or 600 feet from there. So that's probably going to be the biggest thing. And you got 4 churches within, I'd say, 1,500 feet. Does that sound right, Lanny?
Yeah, I'd say,
So I've gotten, you know, major, you know, lots of emails and phone calls from them, and so we're moving forward with it. I know these things that you're talking about already and questions that you're asking, and so I would imagine from this group will decide, you know, what they want to do, and we'll go from there.
Well, we'll do what we legally can, and we can't pick and choose who can operate. And so the way the ordinances are written out, and if it's allowed, I don't know. If there's anything, if it becomes a nuisance, I'm sure there's other avenues that could be taken.
Well, the biggest thing
And
in Hilton's, it's located, it's the only strip mall that's there, okay? And so it's planted right in the very middle of it. And so you have an intersection there. You know, that's going to be a concern too. Traffic, you know, coming out of there, you know, at the intersection. People that will be meeting, the folks, you know, coming from this place and going up and down Highway 58, and things of that nature. So,
Is there gonna be enough parking there for something
Well, that's
like
a-
that, Mark?
no, well, that's another concern too. I mean, it would be like a shared parking, you know, like Lanny was talking about, the post office there shares that too, so you've got just a small parking area there, very small. So, and there's no way of going behind the park either, so I'm not sure how they'll deal with that.
let's bring it back up next month, and maybe, Sally, if there's something you can do, or, I mean, you're probably saying there's probably already not, as far as finding, some way to, I mean, I hate to stop any business, and it's a business, but it's the kind of business you may not want at your next door neighbor. And I understand that clearly, but again, they have their, rights to operate, but, if we don't have anything in place to deal with it, and apparently we don't.
Well, you having said that, they have their right too, but the other people that are there, they have their
Agree.
rights as well.
Yeah.
The school has their rights,
Yep.
and the churches have their rights as well.
Marshall, it might help us if, when this group you're talking about gets formed,
Sure.
if a person would come down and just let us know, so we know the talking points
Sure.
for that side and maybe the other side too.
Yeah, I hear from them too, I mean, what their plans are. And I've got a scanner out here back in the days of Silver Spur. I don't think they even operate now. They have a lot of issues out there. So,
Wonder why they're moving. Do we know that?
I do, I'd rather not say
Okay.
that now.
anyway, let's sort of kick it around next month, and we'll see what we can do, but hopefully we can do something. I don't know what we can do, I really don't. I hate to say that, because we're here in a position to do things, and when your hands are tied, it's, you want to do, but you can't.
Well, they obviously knew what they were doing, so.
If we could hear from those people, have them to come and give us their side of it, what their plans are, and I don't know how they police it as far as keeping the order and keeping things in line.
I'm sure they'll welcome that idea. I mean,
I'd like to hear from them.
that's advertising for them, so.
Well, so be it, but I'd like to hear from them. I want to hear both sides of it, to hear what their plans are and how they intend to operate. You see, in the places in Kingsport, they shut them down, because of the public nuisance. They hog wild, all that stuff that's happened there. I mean, I'm not saying comparing them to them, but still, they've had issues there, and they actually tore the building down that they were in. So, anyway.
But what Mr. Bricky had discussed there, I mean, I think that's kind of the plan, and so those groups, when they're formed, and you'll have the spokespersons or persons, from them, that can go over the talking points and their major concern. Yeah. And there are many, I can tell you that, yes.
Let's make an agenda item and have them to come, and I want to hear from them. If they're a legitimate business and they have concerns and they want to operate, and we need to hear what their voice is going to be. I mean, I don't think that's asking too much of them to come and explain it to us.
Exactly.
All right. We'll do what we can. Mr. Bright, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate you very much. All right, anything else on citizen expression? Item 7, additional roads for the 6-year plan. We all submitted roads from each district. I believe, Jackie, you want to come on and talk about this to us, if you would? Mr. Jackie Christian is here, and he's been our go-to person for a long time, and he's here today, and some other folks from VDOT talk to us about this. Anyway, you have the list there in front of you, and like I said, each district has through a road out there to get paved, to get improvements made on it. So, Jackie, if you would.
Well, first of all, I appreciate all the input we got from the board, and I know that come from the public to you, and then hopefully we're getting it narrowed down now to adding it on to the 2022 6-year plan. And got good news about the plan. We're coming to you with a little over $1 million for those roads, and estimates are as close as we could get them. They may have to be adjusted on up, as costs go up a little bit in the future. But if the plan has to be approved next month, so I'll be getting us free to, and we'll schedule a public hearing for May for the actual plan. And within the next 2 weeks, if the board can work it in the schedule, we really need your priority on these routes as far as which ones you'd like to have added to the plan. And that way, when we come with the plan in May, it'll be settled at that time then. So by using that list, and by no means is that list in any order that we put, it's just kind of the way it come in to us. And you can sit down and get a little over $1 million and those estimates and see how many you can put on and how you'd like to handle that.
So you got over $1 million in estimates, is that what you said?
Oh, in funding.
Oh, in funding, okay.
Proposed funding for the 2022.
Okay.
And that's what it was, we had a couple projects that we had out that
Gotcha.
we've completed, and we had a balance on those.
Yeah.
Anytime we complete a project under budget, that automatically flows back over into the plan, so that helped us out for these two projects.
Would those be the rustic type roads or?
Yes, real rustic projects.
Yeah, through rural roads, that's what we was talking about earlier.
You know, like we've been doing several in the county. They're kind of minimal improvements, but we're eliminating the dust. That's one of the, and improving the drainage in areas. One of those projects on there, it's been up a lot, 659 River Road. It was so long that we had to break that down into 2 phases. You can see where the cost of it is so high that if you put it all in one, you never would get one section completed.
Right.
So,
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that season too. I know it's pretty long. Both ends of that has been paved, been done, but in the middle of it is not, so.
right, it works out. It's odd, that's the way it goes, but you know, if you can, just for an example, if you pick phase 1 or phase 2, you could pick either phase, and but that would take half of your budget for that year for that one route. And we've got some smaller ones on there too that could be for fillers or just at the board's wishes, whatever the board wishes, we'll add it to the plan for the public hearing.
Phase 1, is that the west end? I don't know where these other Route 671 is, but do you know if it's the east end or the west end of that road?
It would be the west end, I think yes, west end, and then what I done, I started on the eastern end,
Okay.
on the, what I'd call the Dungannon side. I started on that side and worked my way the other direction toward,
So that's phase 1, and then phase 2 is the.
phase 2 would be the end toward Fort Blackland.
Okay, all right.
Will you have other monies allocated besides this money that's left over? Will you be getting other monies for this type of projects?
Well, actually, what we have is about $900 and some $1,000 in the actual plan, and the balance that we brought over from the other projects was about $159,000. So that's how we ended up with a little over $1 million in the total plan. But we're available if you have any questions.
Just on that, while you're there, I don't know, is anybody else from VDOT?
Yes, I've got a whole school there.
I may have a whole slew of questions too. So.
Well, what it is, we've had a lot of issues with flooding.
Yeah, I
and,
know.
we brought Wade Belcher with us. He's our maintenance manager, and Paul Maddox, he's a residence administrator, and they've been busy working, and I think Wade's actually got some updates he's brought with him on things that we've completed as far as the flood projects.
Is it time-wise? I mean, I've heard you all talk about you can probably do 2 a year. Time-wise, is that about all you can do, or?
That's about what we're working in. Sometimes we can get 3.
Yeah.
We're currently working on 2 at one time down on the river, 702, 703. We're just because they were so close. But,
Yeah.
So we could do a sum of these if it's 2 or 3 or 4, that if it doesn't go over this amount of money. Is that?
yes.
Okay. All right.
And then the other ones, you remember before we had the list of 31 routes
I
on it?
remember.
That would give us something for next year. You know, you could probably, if you would care to prioritize them for us, 1 through 7, I believe it is.
Right.
And that'll help us for next year as far as the plan.
Let me ask y'all something, and Sally, today, could we adjourn to and discuss this at the end of the meeting? That way it gives time to think about it and let you all know. Could we do that?
Adjourn to another date?
No, today. Just go in, will give us time to let this soak in a little bit. I don't want to do all this discussion now back and forth. We can, but then just when we get through today, we'll all discuss what we need to do, how to prioritize these, or do it now. I mean, for sake of time, what I was trying to do, I guess.
I'm not understanding your question, sorry.
I think he just wanted to know if we can go ahead and do this now, either while they're here or maybe.
At the end of the meeting.
At the end of the meeting.
Yeah, you can do it at the end of the meeting.
Okay. Then we have something by the end of the day, and then we'll take more time to discuss. I don't hold y'all up here and other things
That's
too we need
fine.
to talk about. But just
Feel
go
free
to that at the
get
end of the
that
meeting and we can
information to us.
discuss it.
Jackie,
Just add it to the end.
Pardon?
Just add it to the end.
Okay.
After your comments or whatever.
do
Sorry.
you or one of the other gentlemen have a copy of the roads that are left over of the updated, of the 34 that you were talking about? We're down to ever how many there are. Do you have a
Well,
list?
we've completed those.
Yeah, those are done.
Those
I
are
know.
done. This will be our new list
Yep.
that was presented today. Is that?
We can add all of these and then just prioritize these 1 through 8.
I guess what I'm saying is some of those roads have not been completed yet.
Oh, you're talking about last year's
The existing.
6-year plan?
Yeah, the existing ones.
Yes.
Y'all have a copy of that?
I have a copy of it with me.
Okay.
And, it's now, at the public hearing next month, I'll go through each and every one of those routes too.
How many is left over, do you?
I'd have to count them up, Marshall. We've
Oh.
got several, 12, that are actually on the plan.
Yeah.
I'd be afraid to say for sure, but we added, 2 months ago, we added 2 extra routes.
Was Eaton Hill on there? Do you remember?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's on
okay.
there. I checked
Talked
that this
about that.
morning. At the public hearing, I'll go over each and every one, and that includes last year's plan and up to the new plan.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. We got 3 more to hear from. It looks like that behind you.
Jackie, I have a question. The $1 million though will start with the roads that's already on the plan, correct?
No, that $1 million will be for these new projects
Okay.
that you received today.
Okay,
That's
just
for
wanted to clarify.
2026 funding.
Yeah, that'll be out year money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2026 funding.
I got you.
Be 20 what?
2026 is what you're looking at now.
Right here, this new one. Okay.
Any other questions about the plan?
What's this one about?
I've got, if we can get off the plan just a minute, I've got a road that, it's one of the first things I heard of when I came on the board, and I've had more calls about it. And it's Manville Road, and it's just as you come out of Manville on 665 to Gate City. The line is actually there. There's a burnt cabin branch drive. And the road there is, it's falling off where that branch comes out there. And that is a concern. But 100 foot on up the road, there is a stretch of road there that the road is actually falling off into a big gully, big holler down there. And
Right in that S curve.
yes, in the S curve. VDOT's got some caution signs there, the yellow and black caution signs, and I think the ones that fell out. I couldn't park there to look, but it's not the side of the road that's falling off. The asphalt's falling off. And they're in that same place about halfway over to the center line. There's no line, but halfway over to the center of the road, there's a crack that you can actually see that is moon-shaped. And there's a culvert that runs under that out of a rock bank. When I mentioned it last year, I don't know which one of you were here, but you addressed it. And I agree, it's going to be hard to go in there and do anything at all because it's a deep cut. You got a rock bank, but that road is falling, and not the dirt falling over. The actual asphalt's falling off the road down in there, and I'm getting a lot of calls. If it fell out with the other end gone, the old Copper Creek Bluff, it would really be bad. And I don't know where you can go with it. I know it would be probably more than this to replace, but and you may have already looked at it. I hope so. Is there anything you can tell me about that section of road?
We have looked at it, and I know exactly what you're talking about, and we've done some preliminary plans. It's where the road it's got like a racetrack curve in it.
Yes, it does.
And it's got a slope, it takes a lot of water in that area. We have done some preliminary study on that, but identifying the funds is going to be one of the
Right.
issues. We cannot use these funds, these are for unpaved roads.
Right.
You know, that'll be the thing, is identifying the funds, and seeing what we can come up
Okay. Would you put that high on your list as far as a priority?
with. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thanks for that.
Any other questions about the plan? And I'll let it go with Wade and Paul.
So, good morning, everyone. Paul Maddox, the residency administrator. I want to thank you for giving us a little bit of time here to kind of just tell you what we've been doing and you know what we've seen this last year with VDOT and some of the good things we're doing in Scott County. So when I started last March, you know, we looked at some things and how we were doing work and what we were doing to look at that. So we've developed with the 2 area headquarters that are in Scott County, we developed a plan that kind of is a workflow plan. We're putting all of our work orders and all of our projected projects like that road and everything on paper, and we're working off that list pretty exclusively, and it's really starting to show some dividends in how we're doing and what we're doing. So much so with working on that, we've kind of got a 2-week schedule point that we look at, and we kind of, as we go every week, we update and update. It keeps us on focus. It allows us to get the equipment that we need, the materials that we need ahead of time, so we're ready to go. With that, working like that, and with Wade and Joey running roughshod over our budget, we've gotten to the point this year where we had a little bit of extra money to allocate to some of our area headquarters for projects that we wanted to do, that needed to get done, that in years past we really didn't have that money. You know, we were struggling with our budget and trying to do everything we can to accomplish the basics. And we've gotten to a point this year, and that's what Wade is going to share with you, with him and Jackie working throughout Scott and Lee County, you know, all of our counties, but we've gotten to a point where we're doing some good things, and not only are we doing our routine maintenance and working our work orders and the complaints, and the rain that came in 2 weeks ago, that was, you know, an above average kind of thing that really put a strain on the system. So we're dealing with those issues that came about from that and getting things put back together. But even with that going on, some of the things that Wade will talk about are these longer term projects that have kind of been hanging around. Everybody's known that they needed to get done, and we've finally been able to allocate to get some of those done. So it's a pretty nice list of what he's done, and so I'm going to let him explain and kind of talk about some of that. But we're moving in the right direction. I think that we've got the system down, so hopefully at least in the next 3 or 4 years we'll be able to continue operating the way we're operating and get taken care of some of these additional things beyond just the routine maintenance that we do every day. So I'll let Wade talk about some of those.
Thanks, Paul. I'll give you guys a quick rundown of what we're doing maintenance-wise, and then if you have any specific needs that need to be addressed, I can take those and get them into our work plan that Paul was just talking about and try to get them addressed as soon as possible. But with some of the funding that Paul was just mentioning that we've kind of saved from our budget this year, we've been doing a lot of stone replacement on our gravel roads. I think we've put over $120,000 worth of stone on our roads. Throughout Packsville and the Fort Blackmore area. 627 Water's Edge Road, which is a 10-mile stretch of gravel road. We redid all of the stone work on that, replacing pipes. 625 Bright Hollow Road. 653 Hunters Valley East, we've replaced a lot of pipes out there and replaced all the stone. 659, what you guys were discussing for the 6-year plan, we've restoned that, and we've actually got 3 or 4 slides out there that we're working on repairing, getting ready to start to work on those. 702 and 703, which is actually one of the current 6-year plans that we're working on. It's under construction now. It received some damage from the storm. We've been out there to repair some of that and are continuing to work on repairing some of the damage that the storm did. Marshall, I know you had a complaint on a pipe on Route 614 that's being cleaned out today. We've actually got a crew in Scott County right now and getting ready to start a second one that's just concentrating on cleaning out pipes. They're just going from one pipe to another. I know our ditches and pipes have become an issue, and we've identified that, and they're constantly working till we get caught up on that. And we've actually got a new piece of equipment coming in, the Ditch Pro, that's really going to increase our capacity to ditch. We'll be able to get a lot more ditching done in a shorter amount of time, so that'll help with the slides and stopped up pipes, that sort of thing. We have, I'm sure some of you have noticed on 58 and Route 71, the milling that they did. We're going to be doing a lot of patching on our primary routes and our secondary routes, but they started on the primary routes. They started the milling on Monday, and they're actually starting the paving today. So I'm sure you received some complaints about that, but it'll be smoothed back over today. We've got 4 graders going in Scott County right now due to the storm damage, so they're working nonstop trying to get our gravel roads smoothed back over from all the storm damage.
Is that contractor doing that, or is that VDOT?
No, that's actually VDOT. We borrowed some graders from Wise County, a couple of graders, so we could get some extra work done. We'll soon be starting dust control. You know, with summertime coming, things are drying up, and all this new stone we're putting down, we'll be putting dust control on all of our gravel roads. We'll have almost 12.5 miles of latex resurfacing that's going to be done in Scott County this summer. I don't know if you're familiar with slurry seal, similar to what they seal driveways with.
Okay.
We use, and it's basically the same thing. It's got a latex additive in it, but
Does that go on paved roads or gravel roads?
Goes on paved roads. It'll increase the lifespan of the paved roads. So we've got 12.5 miles of that, and we'll have about 7 miles of new asphalt in Scott County this summer.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
And Daryl, we met with a lady out on Switchyard Lane the other day, out in Yuma. We've got some plans out there to make some improvements to the drainage, and we're just waiting on environmental permits for that. And the tunnel out there, we've got a rental paver coming this summer, and we're hoping that thing will fit through there, and maybe we can do something about the tunnel out in Yuma. Methodist Camp, we're in the process of doing a project out there right now that it's in a flood zone, so every time it rained and flood, it would wash the road out. So we're building basically a low water bridge type structure in the road. That way, when the water level drops, the citizens up in there will be able to get out.
They were there yesterday. What were they doing? Somebody done something there yesterday, do you know?
Yeah, that's our bridge crew. They're working up there to pour the concrete slab in the road. It's not going to prevent flooding, but it will give the citizens, access to get in and out once the water level drops.
But that asphalt washed off every time it got up?
Yeah, every time. We would have citizens stuck up there and have to go up there and put the road back together. But like I said, this won't prevent the flooding, but it will once the water level drops.
I talked to Jackie about it. The problem is that about a quarter of a mile about that.
Way upstream, way up the
creek and that side stream is the same level, and it gets up. What goes down? It's running right now as we speak. And we were at a Leno Wisco meeting the other night trying to get some ideas how to help those people. And unless they get in there, and they even suggested using a lawnmower excavator to get in there. If you don't get the equipment in the creek and drag some of that cobblestone back, so that water will have the path of least resistance to go down instead of going to the right toward them people to go on down where it's supposed to be. But the environmental concerns, putting anything in the creek, how that is. But that creek, when it drops, you did get down to a trickle like in the fall, you could do it without getting anything in the creek. Because the creek is that low when it gets down. That would help a lot. And but And even John King offered to pay for it if he wouldn't get in trouble for, having a machine up there at that creek. So,
What's nice with what we're doing with putting that concrete in is even when the water does come over, before it would wash everything
Right.
out with that concrete. Now, fire and rescue in their bigger trucks
Right.
can still get over there because
Right.
that road is in place. It's already had 3 floodings and hasn't had an issue with it. So there is a benefit, at least even with
Right.
water coming over, that it's still going to allow emergency vehicles to get up through there.
well, the thing I'm getting onto, those limestone rock they put in there, and I didn't understand that either, but what is that supposed to do? I mean, Jackie talked a little bit
Prevents
about it.
erosion and, when the water gets up, all that turbulent flow would just erode the soil
Right.
and bank and everything there. It kind of armors the soil and prevents erosion.
It's a slope stabilization.
Yeah.
It just keeps it from washing the embankment away.
If you notice, they wear y'all out on Facebook. I mean, I hear it, they always tag me in it, and so they do. I mean, it's just, and they got a concern there, especially the Sawyer people lives there in that one
Yeah.
trailer. I mean, they leave every time it rains, they have to leave. But that's not a VDOT issue, it's a creek issue. And
Yeah,
so-
yeah, I definitely sympathize and understand their frustration. It's just, we're limited to what we can do on
The
our
only thing they
route.
said, if you had another culvert, you got that one, was it 6x6 culvert there, it won't carry it?
Yeah, but if, it's kind of, like you said, it's coming over upstream before it even gets to the culvert,
Yeah.
so the
Banks
issue
are a lot
is.
lower than
Yeah.
even that last storm, if you looked at some of those pictures, the water was on both sides rushing over. It wasn't even over the top of the culvert
Right.
because the banks are so low going all the way back up there.
Yeah. They got a problem there, I don't know, I don't have the answer to it either, but at least you all doing something, and it's better than what they had before, the concrete. You made it too rough, I heard that too, so. Anyway, I drove across it, I'd be glad, I'm glad y'all done what you've done, but still, people have issues with it, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. And then we're also, we've got plans for a project at the Hilton School. We're going to do some drainage improvements around the school there. We've met with the school system, and I hope to get started on that shortly after we finish up in Methodist camp. I hope to get that one started sometime soon after that. But basically at the moment, our priorities are resurfacing our gravel roads, getting our ditching under control, getting pipes cleaned out, repairing any slides or storm damage. But if you guys have any specific complaints or anything you'd like us to get into or work schedule, I can.
Yeah, appreciate that. Wade, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What really would have helped, prior to any floods that we have, is if our ditches are maintained and the culverts are, not stopped up. And I know it's overwhelming to you guys right now, but if you have something in terms of maintenance where you're able to keep that ahead of the game, that'll eliminate all of this coming on you all at one time.
Yeah, I agree, and like I said, we've identified some new technologies to try. The Ditch Pro cuts us down from like a 6-man crew out there that can ditch 200 feet in a day, and we go to a 4-man crew that can ditch almost a mile a day. So each headquarters is going to get a Ditch Pro. It's really going to increase our capacity for ditching. We've got the crews working now nonstop cleaning out pipes until we get them all cleaned out, get them all opened up. So
you get one of those per headquarters?
Per area headquarters.
Per what? Area headquarters?
For each area
So
headquarters.
there'll be 2 in Scott County.
Yeah, two in Scott County, there'll be 2.
And another thing, just to jump in real quick, that we've done with all of this and with, the way we're changing the way we work, when we go in with pipe that has to get replaced, most of it that we pulling out is galvanized pipe. Galvanized pipe doesn't last very long, causes us a lot of issues. So we've gone with a new HP plastic pipe that is more rigid than, almost as rigid as concrete pipe. It's smooth interior, so things flow through it a lot easier and a lot quicker. And we're working with Joe in with our hydraulics people, and if there's an opportunity where we can, based on the condition and the location, we can upsize a little bit. We're doing that as well to help with flow and carry things through. So we're doing, we looked at some of that and some of the maintenance things we do to increase as well. So that plastic pipe has proven to be really helpful so far.
Yeah, so we have identified the ditching issue and the culverts, and we're trying to get ahead of the game, and we're putting a really big dent in it right now. So hopefully future storms won't be such an issue.
So when are you supposed to get these 2 machines?
We've actually got one right now, and the one just came into Bristol.
So Bristol District ordered 28 of them. It's a
Yeah.
fantastic tool. They're made as you order them, so the manufacturer is sending right now, he's sending 4 a month. One is going to every residency in Bristol. So we're getting at least one every month until they gear up a little bit, maybe get us 2 a month. But that will give us 2 in Lodge residency. We already have them. So we're a little heavy.
If you're ever out by the front porch, we used it. We did some preliminary testing with one out through there. If you look at that ditch, I mean, it cuts a really nice, pretty ditch. Yeah.
One other area has been brought to my attention. It's on the Bellamy-Tipton Road, Hickory, what's called Hickory Hill.
Yes.
You familiar with that? And the road's pretty narrow, and there's a lot of washing coming there. And the big concern is, school bus going up and down that. And that's paved all the way from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Have y'all looked at that, or?
Just the narrowness of it? Or?
Well, the narrowness of it, because of the school bus. I'm not sure if that's what the plan was when you put the road in, that way, but it's washed out, on either side of it because of the floods, and so it makes it impossible, for a school bus, to pass vehicles when they meet them.
I'll go look at the situation and get something on our work plan to get that addressed.
And then also on Copper Creek Road there, from the Copper Creek Bridge on down there to where it turns up to the Bellamy-Tipton.
Yeah.
A lot of the asphalt, coming up the road. I guess maybe that's because of the flooding and the weather that we've had. And I don't know if this is, I've talked to Jackie about this. The signs at East Carter Valley, the 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have reviewed that. Was that concerning the speed limit?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
right. Well, putting a couple of additional signs there so that people would slow down or going entirely too fast there.
Yeah. We looked at it. That stretch, I believe it's a little over a half mile long. So we've got a 25 on one end and a 25 on the other, and that's for that short of a distance. That's really going any more than that is not. I mean, it's not going to be required or really necessary. I think what would be helpful maybe would be some selective enforcement. I mean, because generally that's what gets people's attention is if they see some tickets written, then they start to abide by the signs. But we did look at it, and they are in place, so they can write some tickets if they need to.
And that's kind of curvy, when you go through there too. But they've had a lot of incidents, accidents, and so forth there, so they're concerned about the elderly people coming out getting hit. There've been property damage as a result of it. That's the reason why this issue come up. I know these people have called you guys too as well. So that's why we're mentioning it, here today too.
Yeah. We
appreciate what you can do, in that regard, to help those people out.
Sure.
Do you have filter plant road drainage?
Yeah. Yes, they actually, after we spoke this morning, I spoke with the superintendent, and that'll be completed this week. They're on 58, working their way towards Gate City. So,
Thank you.
and we've Also, like I mentioned this morning on Filter Plant Road, we're gonna do some widening there going up towards the sports complex where the buses that turn off of the low water bridge there. We're gonna widen that a little bit to give them a bigger turn radius, so.
We are, we're delaying that
Yeah.
until after the sewer line work that's supporting the sports complex, because my understanding it's going to be coming through that shoulder area. So we don't want to put our pavement in and them immediately take it
Yeah.
out, so we're trying to coordinate with them on that.
Have you seen anything about Little Duck Road? Have you noticed
Little
that?
Duck Road,
Yeah, I don't know the number.
what's the,
it's almost all the way to the Russell County line. There is a culvert there. Of course, I don't know if it's collapsed or sunk or whatever, but that is the worst dip. If you don't know that it's there, I forgot about it the other day and I went across it myself and it about threw me out the road. It's bad. I actually mentioned it about a year ago, a time or two. It is bad, but it's all, and there might have been a misunderstanding of where it was at. Somebody actually did put one of those orange things up at another place before you got there, and
Okay.
it's bad too, but it's only about maybe a quarter of a mile off 71. This one is all the way across, almost to the Russell County line.
okay.
But I'll have to look back. But it's bad. If you go across through there, you'll find it. Marshall was talking about speed limits. You know, I've had a call or two about a road. Well, actually two roads: Sabre Chapel and Counts Creek. You know, it was surfaced several years ago. You know, and I've noticed some of these newer surfaced roads. You're putting speed limit signs up. I've noticed some up there. What would we have to do to get one on those two roads?
If it was originally done as a rural rustic project, those are they're a statutory 35 posting whenever we complete them.
Okay.
That's part of the regulations with them. So I'd have to. It was okay. So we can look at that one.
Okay.
And if it was brought in through a rural rustic system, then it's just a matter of coordinating with traffic engineering to get it actually in the
That's
system.
been a request. The reason I said both of them because it starts out as Sabre Chapel, then it wires off as Sabre Chapel and Counts Creek. And why put one on Counts Creek if you're not going to put one on Sabre Chapel?
Right. And just for the board's information on that, so gravel roads are statutory 35 mile per hour speed limit. Most of them are unposted, but if they're non-hard surface, it's a 35 statutory. So there's in the Code of Virginia that when we do the rural rustic projects, because of that, that's why the rural rustics end up being posted as a 35 afterwards.
Okay.
Is because of that statute.
So these would qualify? Is that what you're saying?
If it was through the rural rustic program,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And they're either posted at 35, or if we feel that it really doesn't fully support that. Most of them generally do at 35, and you may have to do a couple of signs in between or something if there's a really tight curve or something like that. But if it doesn't support 35, then we can actually do a study to post it at a lower speed limit. But the vast majority of them, we end up doing 35 with the rural rustic project.
At Nottingham?
Yes.
Oh, you finished?
Yeah.
At Nottingham, back there, is it Robin Hood Lane? Is that right, Jackie? And the other road?
702 and 703.
Yeah, supposed to have been paved last year.
That we're constructing those now, and as soon as we get finished with construction, it'll be surface treated through there. So
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
And storm damaged some of the construction that we had already completed it, so we had to go back and redo some stuff.
Back where that curve was at?
Yeah.
Yeah, did it wash all that out again?
Yeah.
Wow.
If I could, while you're making notes,
Yeah.
there's a road about a half mile below, in down lagoon, down below Hobnob, and I think it's Diana Circle. There's 2 culverts down there, since you mentioned the ditch pro. One of the culverts goes under the main road toward the railroad track into that creek. And I crawled down there last spring, and it's about half filled up.
Okay.
Okay, that when it comes to rain, that makes a pond there. And there's another culvert that goes from that pond to the left underneath that Diana Circle Road.
Okay.
And it's half full too, and it's flooding houses up in there. It did this past week, or week before last. But you might make a note since you've got that
Yeah. Well,
ditch pro. The people that live there had offered 2 or 3 years ago to put an L on the end of the culvert that goes out into the creek where the railroad is. They thought that L would actually suction water out of there. There's such a stream coming down, would actually empty their basements. And they were told they couldn't do that. They wanted to do it themselves. So that's something you might look. I don't know if that'd work or not, but you might look at that.
Yeah, we'll go out and look at the
Okay,
situation
thank
and
you.
see. Anybody else have any specific complaints they'd like to get on the work schedule? Or?
Had you, you said you was going on the back road. I think you're going to do all on Hilton Road. I think you probably had three work orders on that one. That one, Mr. Bill Mann lived.
Yeah.
And then before the water was ponded up, and then I guess where Pastor Bill Porter lives through that area.
Yeah.
Because it almost got up in his house, from the flood. And that goes back to the ditches again.
Yeah, and we'll, like I said, we're working diligently to try to get caught up on our ditching, so it's not an issue anymore.
Yeah, and so we've had it up, the Ippy Carter Highway. I don't know if you went up that direction too. So there's several of the culverts and ditches there, and so there was a lot of water going across the road that should not have been, because some of the culverts were stopped up and tiles.
Yeah, and I know we've replaced quite a few culverts on AP Carter Highway, and we've got plans to do more that are needed.
Yeah, but I think the ditching and stuff, all that, that'll help that process.
I think there's a pipe that's collapsed. It's right in the middle of Dungannon, beside the Methodist Church. It's always 65, 72, right across from the post office. And it's probably down 6 inches all the way across. So I guess they got a barrel sitting there, but it's probably dropped that much. I said the whole pipe is collapsed.
And I know the one you're referring to. We're trying to get that one on our schedule to get it replaced. So.
Well, down on Anglers Way, I think you all have already started
Yes.
looking at those drain lines down there.
Yes. Yeah, we've been down there quite a bit, and we've got some work planned on Anglers Way. So.
Well, I appreciate all that you've done, Jackie. I appreciate you can email him and he's back with you in 5 minutes. I really appreciate that. But all of you, all of your crews that I know this has been a rough year, but we'll.
I appreciate that, and I'll pass it along to them. They work hard and take pride in their work, and do their best to get to as many issues as they can in a day. So
that washout, Jack, at Sally Monument Road, did they get that fixed? Or half the road, part of the road washed out? You know if that's been fixed or not?
I don't know. I'm sure we got to that one, did not.
which one was it? I'm sorry.
Sally Monument Road is 669, I think. It's they got barrels up. They come.
65, or not 65. It's off of.
Yeah, 65.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. The VDOT's where they put gravels in and they got a barrel and stuff there, but it's actually probably 3 or 4 feet out in the pavement where it's eaten out. So I think what's happening there, the water's bypassing the drain pipe.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's washing it out.
Okay.
Like to me, the pros, it looked like that's what it was doing. It was just water was bypassing the pipe. Anything else for these guys?
I like what he said. Appreciate you all being here. It's really good. Wish we could have you every other week, but.
They might not want to come every.
No, I don't think they probably want to come every
There's some
week.
good stuff going on. The way we're doing it now, we're planning and, watching our budget. Whenever we can squirrel a little bit away, we put it right back out on the roads. And I think we're starting to see a difference this spring and summer, what we have planned through the end of our budget year, which is the end of June.
We appreciate you.
The one thing VDOT does that I didn't realize till I come on this board is they're part of economic development too. They design stuff for economic development, like the bridge down here across. It's designed where you can turn in and stuff. They do a lot just for economic development, and it's they spend a lot of money in Scott County. VDOT does. So a lot of people don't see it. These big projects they're down here right now. They spend a lot of money on it. So there's a lot coming in Scott County.
I do have a question, I forgot.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I know going up, it's between Van Gannon and Coburn,
Yeah.
the road up through there where it's
The mountain
falling
up
off?
there where it's falling.
Yes.
Yeah, we've got,
Forgot about
when I was referring to repairing some slides, there's 2 locations up there. You can see where
Yeah.
we've got white paint in the road.
Okay.
We're having a contractor come in to do some repairs there. We've tried patching it before, and it just continued to move. So we're going to get that stabilized and then patch it
Okay.
again. So
Because I know a school bus goes
Yeah.
over that.
yeah.
And, that's a terrible road anyway.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's a
Let me say something
curvy road.
about that road. When that road was built, my father-in-law was a water boy. He was born in 1916, so it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
For a month, he carried water for those guys, and they paid him $40. He said he gave them 4 brand new $10 bills for a month work on that road. But every time he would travel that road with me, he'd tell me the story. He said he walked home with 4 brand new $10 bills. He'd flash them out. For a month's work, he got $40, $10 a week on that road.
But the stabilization work will actually begin next week on the 12th. So then,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just,
Where there is white paint on, is that something that in the near future they're going to start working on? I know on 71
sometimes,
this
but-
morning there was 3 crews getting
Where-
ready to,
where at on-
on 71.
Yeah.
One of them was there at the Kilgore Ford House, the bridge. That was getting pretty bad. It looks like they're getting ready to start on
Yeah.
that. But Twin Springs Road is I noticed some white paint on it. Hopefully they'll be doing something there.
Yeah, it's a good indicator that we
Okay.
might be planning some work, but you can't go by that. Because
We'll take some white paint out there.
sometimes I'll go out
Make
and
my
I'll
own note.
measure a bunch of places, then I have to come back and look
Yeah.
at funding and what I can do, and some of the places I've marked want to get addressed, so.
All right.
I
Appreciate y'all.
would just like to echo what, a couple of the supervisors have already. We really appreciate, the work that you do, and I talk with Jackie, quite a bit. He's always very responsive and gets the things done. We appreciate that. And I would just do a shout out, to the citizens out there. If there's something that we've not talked about or uncovered, let us know, and
Okay.
Yeah.
we'll pass it on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's good to, do that. And we're all a big team together,
Yeah.
in Scott County. So
And, we'll come in every so often, give you an update like this and what we're doing. So
Yeah,
that
we appreciate
ahead of
that.
the curve kind of stuff we're doing. And let you know.
All right. Anything else? Jackie, do need to hear from you again, or you done? I knew you were. Just messing.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you all.
All right, next item is item 8 on the space needs study. Mosley Architecture was decided. If you look at item 8 there on what Rita has sent to us, it describes a little bit what happened there with that. So Ms. Starnes, if you would, if you want to talk about that.
The space needs study idea came about from the Commonwealth Attorney's Office coming to the CARES Act Committee as well as Capital Improvement Committee with requests for additional space. They have attorneys that are sharing offices at the courthouse, and they just don't have the room, they feel, to operate efficiently, and have requested more space. So we, in Capital Improvement Committee, we tossed around a couple of ideas, and some of those would be, to do some work in the courthouse, or to also look at the possibility of doing a demolition of the old jail and the annex building, or the possibility of rehabbing the old jail and making that an office building. So we decided to do an RFP for architectural services to see what our best routes would be. And we received 7 firms that replied to that RFP. Ms. Kruby, myself, and Mr. Dingus sat on a review panel and reviewed those and chose to interview the top, what we felt like were the top 2 architectural firms. And out of those interviews, we chose Mosley Architects as what we felt like would bring a new perspective to what we were asking for. They've not worked with Scott County before, but they have completed around 150, 180 courthouse projects in the Commonwealth. So they're very knowledgeable about courthouse renovations and expansion projects. So we have received, and this was in your packet, an RF, like what their plan is for the space needs study, and it's broken out into tasks. And I also included in Exhibit B the cost for those tasks. Task 1 would be the space needs assessment, where they would do questionnaires for each of the departments. And they're not asking what space you need, they're asking what equipment you may use in your office. Do you have a specialized printer that's large that may take up more room? Or what is actually done inside your office? So that's the approach that they take from the questionnaires. And then they will compile those, they'll meet with the board, they'll come to a board meeting and present those things. And then the second phase would be a preliminary facility and site analysis, where they would conduct a walkthrough of the existing buildings, do site investigation, and identify points to consider of whether rehabbing or demolishing. And then the third phase would be a facilities master plan. And we did a space needs study in 2009, and Mr. Dingus uses that space needs study very often. It's been a very important work document for him, assessing the needs of county offices and their space. So it was well worth the investment at that time, back in 2009, and has been used many times for projects, including this second story expansion that we have now. So the subtotal for services, if all of those are chosen, would be $56,268. And then supplemental services would be our survey. It's a topographic survey and a boundary survey. That would be $21,026. So the total for all services proposed would be $88,356. And to fund this request, we could use $25,000 from the courthouse maintenance fund. The board, you have about $29,000 left in board contingency. If we could use $20,000 of that, you have 2 more meetings after today. So that's your balance through June. Then you'll have new money for July in your contingency. And then we have some money that's not been appropriated from the regional jail reconciliation. We could use the remainder from that, $43,356. And from those 3 pots of money, we can fund the whole study. And the study is, once completed, would be a 20-year outlook. So they take into consideration not only your needs today, but what your needs will be 20 years from now. So all of those would be incorporated into the plan.
Okay. Back, it's been a few years ago, I went through the old jail looking at it, and I really like to see all that demolished. It start over, and the Justice Center or something, call it something, but that is so, and I can't see rehabbing anything there with that. If you get a chance to look at it, you'll see what I'm talking about. I don't think it's worth your thoughts, Bill. You've looked at it many times. I mean, when we get into that point, but
that's part of why we're looking at bringing in an AV firm and do this analysis.
Right.
You know, it may be that that's our only route that we can go is to rehab that, but we don't want to, you know, make a mistake and spend money on rehabbing that facility just to find out in 5 more years that we don't have enough space for our current operation. You know, looking at the 2009 space needs study, it did this, it identified space and needs. And since that time, we've either moved, constructed, or renovated every office in the county, as far as the constitutional officers. They're all in new spaces. Sheriff's office is a new space, treasurer, commissioners in new spaces, the clerk's been renovated, and the Commonwealth Attorney's office in the last 6 or 7 years has doubled in space that they had before that. But when this particular architectural firm did their pitch to us, they had looked up some of their trends and caseloads and looked at the increase that they're dealing with and the space they need. So it's that kind of information that we need to have available to go forward and make the best decisions we can for the county. It's a tool to use going forward.
Ms. Kruger and I were on the capital improvement committee this past few months, and if I could just summarize, we spent a lot of time on this one because we had people come in here that works around the courthouse, and first of all, it's unsafe the way they're having to transport prisoners outside the courthouse into the courtroom, coming through families that are on the other side, and there is no room in the facilities we have to take care of all the needs that we have now, not counting 20 years into the future like Bill's going to. This is something that I think all of us, Stephanie, we all agreed that this is a priority in Scott County. The old jail, I told them I'd love to have that old jail sitting somewhere out on a piece of property I own because that thing's a relic, but it's got to go. The old library needs to be taken into account when Mosley or whoever comes in and makes a study. But it seems like we've got the grounds here to do what we need to do, the physical grounds. We just need to get rid of the jail, like Danny said. The Scott Services, which has been great for Scott County, is located in that old jail. And they brought pictures in and showed us, and it's horrible, and the old jail is gone. So when you take into account this amount of money, and Frida, you've done a good job of figuring out how we can pay for it. Appreciate that too. So
if the price of steel go up, there's enough steel in it to pay for it.
Yeah.
I've never seen that all the sales and bars and stuff in it. It's a lot.
Well, I said we could sell it and maybe sell the old jail to somebody to take to Jonesboro and set up or something. But
to do this, we do 2 votes: to approve the contract and approve the funding, Sally.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I
And
think
then I
so,
have, if you approve the way I have the funding laid out, then there's some transfers and appropriations we need to do.
I think it's the best way to go too. Approve the architects first and then the funding. Any other discussion before we do this? All right, we need a motion to approve Mosley Architects as the people's going to do this. Do we have a motion to do that?
I'll make that motion.
And I will.
Mr. Ricky made a motion.
I will second that.
And Mr. Kirby second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now the funding, you have that. The total is $88,356. 25 from the courthouse maintenance fund, 20,000 from our contingency fund, and then 43,356 from the jail fund. So anyway, I like the way it's laid out too. We should be okay on contingency fund. 2 more meetings, so hopefully we won't need any more of that, but it's there. And so I think it's a good use for it. Any discussion before I put it to a vote? If not, need a motion to approve the way we're going to pay for this. Mr. Starnes gave us the numbers. I gave it to you again. Do we have a motion to do that with that amount coming from each one of those funds?
I need to do a transfer and an appropriation in that motion as well.
Okay. We'll do it all in one vote? Okay.
I thought we already had a motion.
Not on the funding.
Gotcha. All right.
All right. Do we have a motion to do the funding as described to you?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Tipton made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bricky second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. But anyway, as this goes on, Mr. Dingus, and Brady, you too, you know, let's go toward the way of demolition of that old building. Because I think we spent a lot of money in it. Like Mr. Bricky said, 10 years, well, it's, you know, it's just not as stable as it should have been, this or that, on the foundation, whatever. But I think that should be the highest priority if we do it, is the demolition of it.
Yeah, I think the Mosley Architects, I think when they came and gave their presentation, you know, that's one of the reasons we chose them, was because they were, like Frida said, you know, that fresh set of eyes. We're not just going to put a Band-Aid on something.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of the thought there. You know, we don't want to just Band-Aid something temporarily, to have to go back and fix that.
When Darrell and I first come on this board, it was a big move to get the Treasurer's Office and Commissioner of Revenue out of the courthouse. Bo Taylor said, listen, the judge is going to make us secure this courthouse, and that was what we had to do. And so it's helped them a lot moving those two groups out, and then getting this second floor built here. I mean, and I really compliment our staff. Bill, you all have done great with all of this. And so where we're sitting now was not here when, you know, back so many years ago this was all done. So anyway, we're just progressing, I think, in the right direction to make our county better. I really do. So I mean, having everything here, the Treasurer's Office, Commissioner of Revenue, you know, the county offices, everything here, I think has been really good for Scott County. So this is just a continuation of that. We're going to make it better. It's going to cost a little bit, but it's well worth it down the road. 20 years now, people are back and say that bunch done a good job.
We hope.
And see, when they designed this building, it was designed for a second floor. And whoever, when they done that, that was a great idea because it was designed to have it on here, so that's what we did, you know. So anyway, they looked ahead when they built this building to the bottom floor to say one day we might need a second floor, and we did. It worked out great. So, all right, anything else before we go to the next item? And thank you, Ms. Lawrence. Y'all done a lot of work on this and put together, getting the funding right and everything, so thank y'all for working hard on this. Item 9, North Thacker High Knob Music Festival.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh.
You would go and state your name for the record.
Yes, sir. My name is Christopher Jones, and I'm with the High Knob Music Festival. And with me is Mr. Buddy Delp, and he's my friend and also a committee member on the High Knob Music Festival. Mr. Mayor, Chairman, board members, Mr. Mayor, appreciate the opportunity to come back and give you an overview as far as what we have accomplished from the last time that we were here. We're very, very proud as far as what we've accomplished up on the mountain, and with several different entities that helped us. We wanted to give you all a brief overview as far as what we have accomplished. But to give you a little bit of an idea as far as the music festival, we're rather active as far as in the community. We've helped with the Cloud Splitter, which y'all are very aware of. The Cloud Splitter brings in thousands of people into the area. And a lot of the comments from the racers were absolutely just over the top as far as complimentary of the area, what we have as far as resources, people. It's just been a very, very wonderful experience as far as the music festival actually helping out with the Cloud Splitter. And we're kind of proud of this fact. Basically, out in the middle of nowhere at Edith Gap, we had basically an aid station. They said it was actually uncomparable to anything else that they've ever experienced. We had everything from bacon and eggs to soups to a lot of other types of Danishes, pastries, and different things for fruits for these racers that come in from all around the world. And that's what's so amazing about this race as far as how the influence it has on the people it brings into the area. I've seen people from the Philippines, from Ireland, all across the country that come to our area to take advantage of this race. And it's actually, from my understanding, it's one of the crown jewels as far as in the racing, because from this they go on to the Alps.
Yeah, my son actually ran in that race, 103 miles.
Oh, I'm telling you, it's brutal. I mean, at 2 o'clock in the morning, these people come in and they're happy. At 2 o'clock in the morning, after running 75 miles in the dark. And a lot of times, and another thing that's really kind of impressive is there was a little lady from California that had never been to this area, came here by herself, hiked in these mountains by herself. And again, at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's just an amazing thing. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to share a little video with you that we did make as far as what we have accomplished up on the mountain. If you'd like to pay attention to the screen there. That was the old amphitheater that was established back in the 60s. Looks like he's inspired, he's looking off to the horizon for inspiration. Our average age as far as our committee members are about 62. But we do have a vision, we are inspired, and we want to make a difference. Take home to where I belong. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Take me home, Mountain Road. Take me home to where I belong. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Take me home. That's one of the local attractions of the Woodpecker. Crooked Road, take me home to where I belong. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Oh, take me home now. Crooked Road, take me home to where I belong. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Oh, take me home. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Where I belong. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Where I belong. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Where I belong. Southwest Virginia, Mountain Music. Oh, take me home. On that crooked road. I'll tell you, we are absolutely excited and pleased as far as how everything turned out, and we wanted to come back and express our appreciation as far as that you had vision with us and that you had confidence that we would complete our mission. We worked and we completed 600 feet of ditching that we dug, and basically what we found out with the recreation area is blessed with a lot of rocks. So it was a difficult task, and the conditions that we worked in, and it's just like everything else. Whenever you plan on something, and you have all these things that are coordinated with lumber and machinery and work as far as manpower to do it, and of course, what does it do? It rains. So as far as what we're dealing with the rocks and the mud and all that we did, basically, over a 2-week period, we were able to complete this. And this was due also with COVID, as far as the restrictions we had, as far as the difficulty that everyone had last year. But we had like I said, we had a vision. We were inspired by your confidence that you bestowed upon us. And I tell you, we went from a 7 by 33 foot stage to a 20 by 36. The decking is stained. We went from a 20 amp breaker system to a 100 amp breaker system. And basically, what we have done, all this work, all this volunteer hours, all this pain and suffering that we went through for a one-day event, but it's an event that we absolutely love, and we love to bring this to Southwest Virginia. The way that things came together was absolutely fantastic. With over 1,000 volunteer service hours, we were able to do that. But we weren't able to do that without our valued sponsors. Scott County, the City of Norton, Wise County, Town of Big Stone, Old Dominion, Axe Handle Distributing. And that was a blessing as far as Axe Handle Distributing from Lee County. They came through and they donated all of the railing and all of the uprights as far as for the project, which actually just topped it off. And it just made it the hand-hewed logs that they produced are just absolutely beautiful. So our hats are just in our hands with as far as the people that have helped us with this project. Doug Humphreys, which is also a Scott County resident. And all of this started with a group of individuals, they call them the Gang of Five, that donated $1,200. And that was 3 years ago. And we were entrusted with this money, and we saved this money until we were able to achieve this project. So I tell you, it's a project that we love. It was from our heart. A lot of people that came together that helped us with this project, and it is truly a regional event. All the people that came together that helped us, it's just absolutely fantastic. We have our music and our lineup, and actually where we had to cancel last year, we actually tried to, our normal date is in June, and we tried to postpone it to August, and unfortunately we weren't able to have that event because of COVID. But we have done our due diligence. We have gotten with the state, we've gotten with our local health department, we've gotten with the feds. And the funny story about that is whenever we started checking on this, the local told us to go to the state. The state told us to go to the feds. The Fed told us to go back to the state, and the state wound up sending us back to Wise. So basically, through all of that, we were able to determine that we will have an ample amount of space, and we will be able to go on with our project, or as far as the music festival. This year's event, our opening ceremonies are going to start about 11 o'clock with opening ceremonies. Previously, we haven't actually tied down the opening events yet, but we've also utilized Rolling Thunder, VFW, with our opening events, and those are always just great additions to the opening as far as for the festival. We've also had bagpipes of the mountain, and folks, it's absolutely a beautiful, beautiful sound if you think about it. Up in the mountain, and whenever the bagpipes start playing and it goes down that valley, it's just absolutely just breathtaking as far as that. The year before last, our attendance was right at in between 2,200 to 2,300 people. With this being one of the first outdoor events after COVID, we're not exactly sure exactly how many people are going to be at the event. But we are ready. Our lineup, like I said, our opening ceremony is going to start at 11 o'clock. From at 11:45, Chris Rose, and we have always tried to utilize some local talent, younger talent, at the very beginning of the festival to give them some stage presence and give them an opportunity to perform in front of different people. But Chris Rose does a wonderful has a wonderful class up at UVA, and it's the Papa Joe Bluegrass Band, and the students that are also in that program. So we're tickled to have them as far as one of the opening acts. The Children's Sisters are just a wonderful group of young ladies that are great as far as their musical talent. And at 2 o'clock we have the Hillbilly Band, we have the Sean Patrick Whiting Band, the Craig Street Ramblers, which also played the music for our video, and the Billy Crawford Band. So we have a great lineup planned for this year, and just really super excited about being able to do that. Buddy, if you'd like to come up and...
What's the date on it?
What's the date?
The date's going to be on June 19th this year, which is Father's Day weekend.
Thank you, Chris. Would I offend you all if I remove the mask? I don't want to do that. I have a hard time breathing. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak to you about this wonderful festival that we're putting on. And thank you all for your contribution last year, which enabled us to complete these projects. In front of you, I'll briefly just go over, there's no reason we try to tell you everything's on these papers. You can read it at your convenience. But basically, we had to hire a master electrician and carpenter to lead the projects as far as doing the electrical and the stage. Other than that, all of the work was done by the 10 High Knob Music Festival committee members. And he just led us, and we did, I'll say 90% of the labor. But he was, we had to have someone who was certified to sign off on the electrical and the carpentry work, make sure it's all done by code standards, regulations. Chris told you it was a 600-foot long ditch that we had to dig to put the conduit and the electrical in. That cost was $4155.46, and our volunteer committee put in 319 work hours on the mountain to complete that project. Wise County Board of Supervisors completely funded the electrical project. The next project was the stage. You saw the pictures of the stage. It's absolutely incredible, and we hope it'll be there 50 years. We built it to last for a long, long time. The stage cost, Chris went over some of the details about the stage. It's huge. It's 20 feet deep and 36 feet wide. It would barely fit in this room, I guess, as far as the width goes. The cost on the stage project was $6,092.28, of which you all donated $2,000, and we're just so very grateful. The town of Norton, the city of Norton rather, donated significant money to it. The town of Big Stone Gap donated money to it. Old Dominion Power, Kentucky Utilities donated toward the stage. Total cost of both of these projects was over $10,000, and we raised all of that money through the help of boards of supervisors and other sponsors. To build the stage, we spent 687 volunteer hours from the 10 High Knob Music Festival committee members. The 687 was a total. We spent 368 hours building the stage. Forest Service, I think, rates the dollar per hour if you were having to pay labor to get work like this done is probably upwards of $30 an hour. And we put in the better part of 700 hours volunteer work. So that's how we added to the project. But we couldn't have done it without you guys helping us. One thing I'd like for you to think about, this year, Chris mentioned that we do intend to have the festival. We haven't known, and I don't think any of us have known what we could do this year. But we were ready right up to the last minute. We postponed once last year, and we finally had to just cancel out. This year, it looks like we're going to be able to do the festival, but we are just a couple of weeks into thinking we really can get this done. So now we're 2 months and a couple of weeks at the most out from festival date. So what we would like to ask you all to consider is donating to us to help us advertise, and it's an urgent need to get billboards up, get our poster boards that we put in storefronts and so forth printed, flyers made up, and radio. Well, a lot of the other advertisements may not cost a lot, but the billboards are expensive. But we would respectfully ask you all to consider helping us again this year, and we're so appreciative for what you did last year. You gave us $2,000 last year. If it was possible, you could do that this year. That would be great. If you can't, whatever you might be able to do to help us would be appreciated. Chris went over the stage schedule, so I'll skip through that. I included in the handout, the third page, I think, just a note from Michelle Davalos, the district ranger, and recreation program manager Brandon Olinger, and Jeff Buting, he's our volunteer coordinator for the Forestry Service. In this, they say, we would like to thank you so much for all the volunteer efforts in fiscal year 2020. I know that it's been a difficult year with COVID-19, social distancing, and lack of in-person meetings. However, we have still found a way to make the volunteer services program work. We're so appreciative of your dedication to the public plans, and we're very proud of that because we truly do volunteer to try to make High Knob better. Not just for us, as Chris pointed out, we actually do one-day festival, but we work all year long to try to improve the High Knob recreation area. We mow, we cut brush and weeds and just anything that we have to do to try to make it look beautiful up there. So at any rate, I won't keep you longer. I'll turn it back over to Chris, but thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to you, and thank you for your donation.
Again, a lot of things that we've been involved in as far as the trash pickup, AmeriCorps, which is a valuable asset that they've been utilizing as far as developing the trails on High Knob. The Cloud Splitter, we have a large Facebook presence. On several of the posts, we had over 68,000 hits. And our festival, as far as online presence, has grown that, goodness, I'd say we have 30 to 40 states represented as far as looking at our Facebook page and seeing what's coming up. And we have also over 3,000 followers on Facebook. But why we do this is that we do have a love of our area. And we want to enhance it. We want people to come in. We want people to come and enjoy what we have to offer. Future projects, we're looking at putting a roof as far as over top of the stage. We're also looking at a handicap. And this is going to be one of the first things we're going to do is at the top of the hill, we want to build a handicap accessible platform, which is going to be easily done because there is already a paved pathway from the parking lot that we can also come in and build this handicap platform. So that's going to be another thing that's going to benefit as far as that area. But, you know, we also wanted to, one last thing is we wanted to show our appreciation. And we made phone calls. We called overseas, we called different places. We wanted to, you know, show our appreciation and bring something to the board. And buddy, if you'd like to, what we wound up, I mean, we called everywhere. I mean, from overseas to South America, but what we found was all roads lead back to Southwest Virginia. And one of the committee members lived in Scott County up on Osborne Ridge, which is one of the prettiest places in God's country. But one of the things we did is that we made these nice little tokens here.
And we didn't drink all of it.
Not all of it. But as a token of appreciation, I just wanted to bring you all something that we make as a little fundraiser for the festival.
Oh, good color.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I wanted to ask, the $3 admission fee the feds charge to get in there, do they still do that when you're having a festival? You got to pay the $3 to get in?
Yes, and that is totally out of our control.
They won't waiver that for that one day or anything?
We have literally begged them to do it, and to the point where they finally just said, quit asking, because that's not something that even they
Not negotiable.
At our Norton office, Forest Service office, they can't waive it.
Well, if they let y'all have that money, that would help a lot, you know, if they did anything, give it back to the festival, so.
Well, and that's the other disappointing thing about the parking fee. That money really doesn't even stay in our region. So, but we have tried. And
Well, no, they enforced, I got a $50 ticket for stopping there at Bart Cane Blake, took a picture. I got out of the vehicle and they gave me a $50 ticket for not paying the $3 fee. I made a U-turn, took a picture, and there my ticket was.
Yeah,
So they're strict about it.
right.
They're serious about it.
Yeah, we really have to pay it, and really we did everything we could possibly do. We tried to shame them into not charging because we're trying to do a totally free festival where you can bring families and kids. And
So y'all don't charge admission fee or anything to people?
We don't charge a thing.
Okay.
No.
That's what I thought, but I wanted these others to hear that.
Yeah, we do not charge any admission, and literally, we have, at some point, we have made an aggravation of ourselves by trying to get them to waive the fee, and we just cannot do it.
So who do you have to pay the fee to?
Federal government for service. It's an honorary system. You pull in, you put the money in the envelope, put it in the thing, put the ticket on your windshield, and go on. But it's just, but you better pay it.
Yeah, and did they actually raise it to $5? I believe the fee may have been raised to $5 now. Now, that's still not very much money.
No, it's not.
To be able to bring your kids and be able to go all around in the area. But to us, we realize that our region is a large percentage of it's impoverished. And one of the things that we're trying to do is provide a venue where people can bring families. We set up a food tent and we sell brats and it's really good food and it's not very high priced. But people can actually come to this festival and bring a cooler with some drinks and some sandwiches and not have to pay anything to spend literally a whole day and evening in the mountains. So that's what we're trying to do.
National Forest recently did raise that to $5.
Okay.
But at our last meeting, we asked them what we could do as far as to try to reduce that cost. And Brandon Olinger gave me some points as far as how we can actually contact and write up and compare the cost of the entrance fee to Bark Camp, Cave Springs. There's several different other parks that only charge $3, and why they raised the recreation area to $5, I don't know. But we do have plans as far as to try to do that. One other thing that I didn't share with you that we're also quite proud of is that one thing we ask festival goers to do for us is instead of paying to come into the festival, we ask them to bring 3 cans of canned food. The last time we did that, we actually they donated close to 2 tons of food,
wow,
canned food to us that we donated to the food bank. So we're quite proud of that also. But again, folks, we appreciate the confidence you had in us, the faith that you had in us that we would complete our project, and I hope that you're pleased with what we have accomplished and what we did as far as the final project. But it's still a work in process. But always keep in mind that we did all this work for a one-day event, so this is ready for weddings, other functions as far as that can go on up on the mountain. I've gotten in touch with Pro Arts. Pro Arts is looking at that pretty strong as far as having a Pro Arts event on top of the mountain. Now, wouldn't that be something to have symphony in the mountains and actually in the mountains? And could you imagine if you were up at the observation tower listening to an orchestra and that sound coming up and filtering through the valley up to the top of the mountain? I think that would be absolutely just stunning. But we are blessed with one of the prettiest places in Southwest Virginia, in God's country. And what we're trying to do is trying to enhance and trying to build off of it. And again, we couldn't do that without your all's help and without your vision that you shared with us. But folks, we do appreciate it very much.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. One thing too, y'all may not know, but that tower he showed in the video, Scott County has $15,000 in that too. So this board has been, when they burnt the old one down, they've had the big fundraiser, but Scott County did have $15,000 in that endeavor there. It's technically in Wise County, but still we benefit a lot from it.
Folks, we do appreciate everything you've done for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is item, can y'all take a break? Go ahead and keep going. You need a break? Take a break? All right, take about 10.
Please.
Call the meeting back to order.
Okay, the rest we can start again.
The money that was provided for them was 2019, 2020 budget year. Nothing was budgeted for the 2021 fiscal year. Your all's thoughts on this? I mean, I don't know, like I said, we gave them $2,000 2 years ago, and they're needing $2,000 again for advertising stuff. They've left that anyway. Your all's thoughts on this? I don't know,
All right.
I know the venue is in Wise County. Like I said, the Scott County has had put money into that tower, $15,000 back several years ago, the new tower that they constructed. It's all right there together, pretty close. Y'all's thoughts on this, funding it, how you want to do it?
Okay.
And we gave 2,000 2 years ago, so anyway, and they're requesting 2,000 again.
Yeah, two years ago.
It would be, it was not this fiscal year, the fiscal year before this one.
Exactly.
Been 2019, 2020 fiscal year. We're in the 2021 fiscal year, so that's where we are.
Bye-bye.
Your all's thoughts?
Well, I'm sure we'll probably have a lot of people going there and being a part of that, I would imagine. And there's lots of people come from a lot of states, so I mean, if it's 2 years ago, and I think we ought to probably do something on that, whatever y'all decide.
Would there be contingency money?
Yeah, you have some left.
9,000 left.
I didn't take it all.
I'll agree with Marshall, you know, eventually we can get it back on their side of the mountain, Bar Camp, or maybe they're going over to Bar Camp or something, so.
And he said they were needing it for advertising.
Yes,
So
advertising.
if they don't advertise it, then there won't be anybody coming.
Well, they do that.
And our name will be on the advertising.
Well, so they go all over that mountain when they have that cloud splitter. You know, I was up there when my son was running the race, and I mean, you're all over the top of that mountain. Those runners, I mean, they're everywhere. They have those substations set up, and so you're right. There's all sorts of advertisement and things like that.
So
it's,
my question is, and I fully support the music festival, but does this set a precedent for other festivals that we don't know about yet at this point, like Dungannon? I know Dungannon 4th of July, maybe,
Nicholsville Days, Duffield Days.
Duffield Day, Nicholsville, Duffield, if they're gonna do something at the Carter Fold this year, those types of things.
I mean, well, this is something
Just call me
the
hesitant.
boards have had to do every year.
Sure.
And the people come before the boards and making the request and things of that nature, if that's what you're talking about.
Just call me
That's
hesitant.
nothing new. Danny knows that. Darryl knows that. They've been on previous boards, and so.
Well, there's other music venues, for example, Allen Hicks, when they start back, I mean, I go to that regularly, there's probably 40 to 50 people goes to that. You got one of the biggest is Carter Fold, that we have other festivals, music type venues that goes on in the county. And so, I don't know, I agree we need to probably do something, but I'm not sure about the $2,000. I'm just not.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like we need to do something. I'm not 100%
Do half of it.
2,000.
Darryl says,
I vote.
okay, you put it in the form of a motion.
Let's talk about it first, make sure that's,
That's just a suggestion.
Okay. All right.
No, it's not.
I'm okay with 1,000.
And the thing about it, we do benefit from it. I mean, maybe not as much as Norton and Wise County does, but there is some, and it's as close as it is to the, to Scott County. I can see doing something, and if you've been up there, you get a chance to go, be sure you pay you $3 or $5 now. But if you go, and it's amazing, and they got a trail around that lake too. It's a high knob lake, and you can walk around. There's a lot to do there if you go and look at it. It really is. It's a beautiful place.
Can I add something?
Yes, ma'am.
In the past, you've also done $1,000 for Duffield Days and Nicholsville Days,
Right.
so that's the amount, that you've considered in the past for the other festivals.
Good point.
That's a good point.
Yep.
1,000, is that what you said, 1,000 for
Yes,
each of
ma'am.
those? I only did 500 for them. Would that be too little?
Whatever y'all want to do, and I'm fine with whatever we do, but I I say 1,000. I mean, I
Think 1,000.
yeah. And the reason being, like, that is the amount we've given the other, you know, the towns and stuff, so.
In Scott County.
Yeah, in Scott County. Y'all's thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I think 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah. I mean,
You okay with
when
that?
they're having this, some of this,
Yep.
some of this.
You're saying that awful low.
I'm sorry, that is my feeling.
I'm with you, Selma. I mean,
Really, I don't think we should give a festival in Wise County what we give festivals in our own county.
It's not all just in Wise County. There's a lot of this is happening on parts of Scott County up there too.
The cloud splitter thing is in both counties.
It's
It
both
happens.
counties.
So it is both counties.
Well, that part of it is. Now, the festival's all in Wise County.
Well, Cloud Splitter's a big part of it, because, I mean, you're talking about
It
3
is.
days, I mean, for the 100-mile marathon. So that's a pretty big event.
And I'll tell you, those other counties, City of North, they do promote the Devil's Bathtub too, but that's gonna be something I think we'll see down the road, some benefit from that.
I mean,
but
there's
they promote it.
people all over the top of that mountain on that weekend, from Scott County, I mean, and Wise County, from all the counties around, and other people, you know, from everywhere. So.
Mr. Chairman, if I would, I'm on the High Knob Enhancement Corporation and the Forest Outdoor Recreation Group.
Right.
And when we're looking at High Knob, I'd encourage you not to look at the county line.
Right.
Because that's a regional asset that's being promoted regionally.
Yeah.
And if we have tourists that come and pull from the Tri-Cities, they're coming through Scott County to go to these events on High Knob.
Right.
And, Norton is making a lot of investments in the mountain, and Wise County is making a lot of investments in the mountain.
Yeah,
And it may be our place to do so as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, I think.
Well, Darrell mentioned 1,000, you wanna do that, could you live with that?
Yeah, I could not vote against it.
Okay, that's what you're supposed to do, that's what you're elected to do. So-
Absolutely.
So that's what you're there for. Well, Darrell, you gonna put that in the motion of $1,000, and you,
$1,000 from contingency.
okay. All right, Mr. Jeter made a motion for $1,000 from our contingency fund, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tippin, second. Any other discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did you oppose?
No, I said aye.
Oh, I didn't.
You were looking at me.
All right, the motion.
I think 1,000's fine, and I think that's the right thing to do,
Okay.
you know, in the grand scheme of the bigger picture.
I do too.
That's it.
Mr. Dingus made a good point.
Yep.
I agree.
And I do try to look at the big picture, and that is the big picture because it does.
That's where I learned to drive.
affect.
A 1958 Ford, I learned to drive up there.
Oh, my
Oh,
goodness.
really? Okay,
That's
so
why I
it's
drive so
special to
good.
you.
I'm still learning, by the way. All right, anything else on that? If not, we'll go to item 10, telecommunications week. There is a resolution that you hope you've looked at, and we do this every year. Let me read the bottom part of it. Now therefore be it resolved that the Scott County Board of Supervisors declares the week of April 11th through the 17th, 2021 to be National Telecommunications Week in Scott County, Virginia, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our county and citizens safe. We do this every year, and I think it's a great thing. Those folks work hard. I had one dispatcher tell me that she was actually on the phone twice when somebody committed suicide. Can you imagine being the last person on the phone? Those people go through a lot. So I think it's a great thing we're doing to honor those people with this resolution. Any comments? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion when you.
All right. Ms. Gribby made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tippin, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so motion carried. All right. If you get a chance, those folks, you can thank them for what they do, and I like to listen to mobile scanner and stuff, and they go through a lot too. They really do. Item 11, ratification of the Family Crisis Support Service Letter of Support. Ms. Starnes, you want to address that? It's in the tablet, but you can go ahead and address it if you would.
The letter is on your tablet. This is the letter that I emailed you about to get authorization to go ahead and sign the letter of support, which I have done. And the letter is supporting, it's a regional approach for Family Crisis Support Services, which is located in Norton. They've had some issues with their facility, and they've applied to DHCD for grant money to build a new facility. So this is just supporting their efforts in getting that grant.
And we can do this to authorize you to sign that, is that correct? I said it.
That's correct, we just need to ratify it. It's already been done.
Okay. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion.
All right. Ms. Hood made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Herron, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, Clinch River Tri-State. We had that last month, and I don't know, may have overstepped what we said. You got the email from our county attorney about doing what we said we would do, and I value her opinion. That's what we got her for, and we're not so sure that we can do what we said we were going to do. Do you want to address this any more than that, Sally, if you would? And
and just what you said there, it's not that you can or can't, you can. It's whether you should.
Yeah.
And I just cautioned you against whether you should or not.
Right.
So that you're not showing favoritism, so you're not setting a precedent for the future. I just wanted to give you some things to think about. I support the business that he's doing. I think it's a great service to the county. It has nothing to do with him in particular. It's requests like that in general, and what you'll do the next time somebody comes before you and asks for a break.
And as chairman, I messed up. I'll tell you where I did. I should have said we'll look at this for the next month. We should have never went as far as we did with it. And after the meeting, we talked about it, and I should have said, well, we'll delay it until the April meeting, and not tell them what we're going to do. We would discuss it. So then after the fact, we find out maybe this may not be the right way to go. And I wish they were here, which they didn't know to be here, I guess, and to talk about this. And what it was they're paying $40 a ton to dispose that. Then we were going to put a limit, no more than $2,000 annually would be the most they would pay. They're paying about $4,500 now, I think, last year's bill. Is that what they said they paid?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's $40 a ton. And so and the reason that I was thinking the way I was trying to see what they had done in Russell County. And they did it's like a $500 fee or something they paid, and that's all they would pay. I thought, well, we're not Russell County, but trying to come close to doing what they were doing there. So we said the $2,000 would be the limit that most he would pay. He said his business is really growing, and that amount is going to increase. It wasn't a big deal when it wasn't as much trash that he was picking up. But anyway, we said we would do that. And like I said, I should have never allowed it to come to a vote then. We should have delayed it. Give our attorney time to study this out and recommend back to this board. That's why she is there. And that didn't mean to bypass her, but we should have waited, but we didn't, or I didn't. So anyway, your all's thoughts on how to handle it now, your thoughts?
Have you talked to him at all?
I have not. I was going to, and I haven't. I didn't know really what to say until I hear from you all. So,
Hey, I think from now on, anything that comes up like that on that citizen expression, that we should do just what you said. We shouldn't make a quick decision.
Yep.
We should postpone it a month if we possibly can.
if we can.
Unless it's emergency, because
Yeah.
about every time we do something like that, we mess up.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, I miss Frida not being here and Sally here, because they can kind of get me off to the side without having to yell at me across the room. And so it helps me if I get y'all back up here maybe sooner than later and coach me on this, because it would help if we did that. But anyway, but how we proceed now, I guess, is what I'm.
Last month, I had a bigger problem with this than just about anything that we faced. And I didn't know how to approach it, that I felt bad about it until I got Sally's note. And my old philosophy is it's not fixed, not broke, don't fix it. And I got to thinking back when Gate City, the town of Gate City and Lenawisco asked us to not charge them tax on some property that they were going to tear some houses. They owed tax. Somebody owed tax. And we said, no, you're going to pay it because it's on the books. This has been on our books for 30, 40 years, hasn't it? So,
The transfer station part since 2009.
2009, right. But if we could be opening a can of worms by, doing this for him, and then what's going to happen when another business comes in. or a private business, or even one of our big businesses out of Duffield walks in and says, we didn't meet our quota this month, and we have a little off on our machinery tax or something. So, no, I had a problem with it last month.
Like I said, we should have waited. I should have never allowed it to come to a vote then, what we decided to do. But, and I'm with you all. And I hate to tell this guy he was here, we're gonna do one thing and then we do something different. That's the only downside as far as I'm concerned, is him leaving here with the thought that what we're gonna do, and if we don't, then I'm not sure we should take the advice of our attorney. That's why she's there. But like I said, we should have never done anything while they were here. We should have waited to give us time for her to research it, look at the ordinance that was put in place back in 2009, and then went with that.
I had reservations about voting for it too, but the reason I did is because of the savings on our trucks.
Right. Yeah, Bill did a good job with that.
Yeah, he did.
That kind of made me think more of it too, but still, it's not that big a savings. I mean, it's not anything that's going to make or break us.
Right.
Well, what our small businesses, if let's say they take their trash up there, do they have to pay to take their trash?
Any business, any commercial entity should.
See, that's the problem I had with it. If we would let him do that, then we would have to relieve them too, because they're taking our trash to the landfill. So technically, they're doing the same thing on a smaller scale. And I don't think if we did it for him, we'd have to do it for all.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to get out last month, and I couldn't get it. I couldn't get everything to flow out right.
That's right.
But that would be the problem. And after I've thought about it a month, I know he's having to pay $4,000, $4,500, whatever it is. That $4,500 might be keeping him in business as much as what he is. If we relieve that, that might invite somebody else to come into our county and give him more competition. So really, the $4,000, $4,500 might be, in a way, a blessing to him.
One scenario I thought about, he mentioned that it's household waste that people have to pay for anyway. Well, the whole town of Weber City has waste management that does household pickup, and they take their waste to their facility in Bluntland. But what would keep them from seeing this, and if they didn't have to pay a tipping fee at our transfer station, bringing all that waste to the transfer station, then we'd have to turn around and pay them to take it.
Right.
I mean,
It could have
it set a big precedent, and it could open up a huge can of worms when you start thinking about all the scenarios that could happen.
But the biggest thing was our small businesses. They're supposed to pay. So and technically they would be doing the same thing as what he's doing. And I'm thankful that he's doing it.
I use them. I love it. They really do.
But I feel like we need to leave it the same myself.
His rates are pretty low, right?
$25.
Yeah. So a lot of other places you don't pay much more than that. Maybe he can incorporate that into, he's a business mind, obviously, and he can incorporate that into his business plan and should be able to recoup that, I would think. And I agree with what everybody else has said here too. And I agree with Darryl. I think we make a lot of decisions, very quickly, and we should have had time to think about them.
That's my fault.
Yeah. Well,
y'all need to prod me every once in a while. I mean, y'all throw something at me or something.
Well,
I'll throw my bobble at you.
I'm gonna get a shock.
Not that big one.
Let me get you a shock collar.
I think this is typically what other boards have done before and so forth, and we just kind of follow precedents, and so following precedents is not always the best way to go a lot of times. So
Sal, how can we undo this?
Well, you just say you're gonna leave it as is.
Okay.
All you did last month
We didn't
was-
actually vote on it. I mean, we just voted
all you did was,
for you.
want me to come back with a resolution, so
Okay.
you just don't adopt the resolution. And
So we don't do anything, just
No, I mean, you wouldn't have to take any action.
So I did send him a letter.
I mean, somebody needs to communicate it directly to him. somehow, but either you or
I can.
whatever, but,
I got his number, I can call.
and, lay it on.
I will.
On the
So we don't need to do
attorney.
anything here as far as the board, we don't need to vote on nothing
No,
to
and
do.
lay it on the attorney,
Say it again?
lay it on me.
Hey, I never thought about that.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, it's not election year, so we can take blame. It's not election year. If it's election year, I have to do it all of you. You've got to have a little fun. We're boring sometimes. All right, we'll leave as is, and I will call him and let him know that we could do anything. We didn't want to change that, and leave it as is. I'll take care of it. All right. Bookkeeping.
I've got a big list, so get ready. We'll start with appropriations. Appropriate, you got your yellow sheets, I'll give you a second.
Yeah, got it.
And then I'll have the ones from the Mosley Architects I'll incorporate in. Appropriate $8,258.40 to sheriff repair maintenance vehicles 31200-6009 for insurance claims received and deposited at the treasurer's office. Note deposited in 3118990-19 for the following: $1,232.90 on 1/11/2021, $1,996 on 1/28/21, $150 on 2/10/2021, and $8,980.63 on 2/10/2021. Please appropriate $12,000 to Circuit Court Clerk's Technology Trust Fund, Capital Outlay Office Equipment 29-21655-8102 for monies received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office. Appropriate $1,702.72 to Rescue Services 4 for Life 32300-5645 for monies received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office. Appropriate $26,648 to Sheriff Vehicle Replacement 31200-8001 for a total loss insurance claim received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office. Appropriate $235.80 to Park Golf Course merchandise for resale 71110-6015 for a reimbursement received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office. Appropriate $47,728.69 to Sheriff Vehicle Replacement 31200-8001 for a reimbursement received and deposited at the Treasurer's Office.
Okay.
And appropriate $63,356 to Ford 009-043600-3330 Fund 37 Maintenance and Construction. I don't think that's the right fund number, so strike that. But Maintenance and Construction, Courthouse Maintenance Fund, we'll go that route.
All right.
And under, that's all the appropriations.
Okay. Need a motion on the appropriation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Ricky made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Krueger, second. Any discussion? All in favor, vote by saying aye.
That last one you mentioned, it.
That's what we did earlier for the.
For the Mosley Architects.
I got you.
All right.
Okay. Start saying it.
Yeah, that takes the 43,356 and the 20,000 and
Okay.
moves them into Courthouse Maintenance Fund.
Okay.
Because this will be a 6-month project and it'll be between budget years. So putting it in Courthouse Maintenance Fund allows that to carry over. So under transfers.
We had both.
I'm sorry.
Okay. I got a motion, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now, Ms. Owens.
Okay, transfers, please transfer $2,000 from Information Systems Manager Capital Outlay 12540-8102 to Repairs and Maintenance 12540-3310.
Do you have a motion on the transfers?
I've got 2 more.
Oh, okay, sorry.
And transfer $43,356 from 300018990-0014 reconciliation from regional jail to 3-009-4041-050-0001 transfer funds from general fund.
Okay.
And then need to transfer $20,000 from 4001-010-5840 board contingency to 3009-041-050-0001 transfer funds from general fund.
Okay.
And that's all the transfers.
Do we have a motion to make these transfers?
I'll make a motion.
All right. Mr. Harron made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
And Ms. Hood second, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Have the grants.
Okay, grants, please establish budget code 81610-3100 for professional services, Department of Housing and Community Development, CDBG, Lonesome Pine Regional Industrial Development Authority, Opportunity Zoning Planning Grant. Reimbursement will be appropriated after received and deposited at the treasurer's office.
Okay. Need a motion on the grants.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Mr. Kirby made a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Tiffany second, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right, is that it on those?
Yes.
Ms. Tina say on the appointments.
Comprehensive policy management, Ralph Law has resigned from that position. We have one applicant, Elizabeth McMurray.
Okay, do we have any nominations for this appointment on this comprehensive policy management team?
I'll nominate Ms. McMurray.
Any other nominations? Not need a motion, nomination cease and vote by acclamation.
I'll make a motion, nomination cease and vote by acclamation.
Mr. Tiffany made a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Ricky second, all in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Recreation Board, District 3, you have one person who has expressed interest, Keith Warner from Nicholsville.
Okay. Do we have any nomination for this Recreation Advisory Board?
I'll nominate Mr. Keith Warren.
All right, any other nominations? Not need a motion, nomination cease, vote by acclamation.
So moved.
Mr. Kirby made a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Ricky second, all in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried. That's it? All right, item 15, Ms. Gagler.
You all have my report, and excuse me, I'm happy to answer any questions. I did want to address something from earlier in the meeting, speaking of cans of worms, in a different respect. The community situation in Hilton's with that business.
Right.
We as the county government, if it could be regulated, it would be by zoning. It can't be because it's an allowed use. It still has to go through David Gilmer's building office. He'll have to get a building permit to change the use of that building. Under the zoning ordinance, even though it's an allowed use, there are restrictions about the parking and the number of handicap spaces and occupancy level and the number of parking spaces. So there's that can be regulated. But beyond that, we can't do anything else. I would caution having an agenda item next month on that. I think it's wonderful what the community is doing, coming together and addressing this directly with him. He's open to being engaged that way. That's perfect. I think that's what needs to happen when we can't do anything. So I just wanted to say that you don't want to single out the
Right.
business and get involved when there's not anything that we can legally do.
Right. Okay. Makes sense.
That's important.
I appreciate that, Sally, and I think it's frustrating a lot of times when things like this happen.
Yeah.
And a
You
lot of
want to
times,
do something.
the only recourse that people feel like they can make is, to the Board of Supervisors. And in this particular situation, by virtue of them having already been established in the county, and I guess a change of venue is kind of what's required, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Mr. Gilmer taking care of that. And I think the health department's involved, in terms of all that. But then those other routes to address.
The ABC license
Exactly.
is another route that has to be brought to your all's attention as a board. Anybody that gets an ABC license, a chance for public comment then. So I feel for Mr. Bright. I think it's great that he came and brought it to you all. I think that's what citizens expression is for.
Yep.
It's just we're limited in what we can, even though you want to do everything you can for somebody, we can't always help the way we want to, and we can do more harm than help.
We hadn't faced that before, so I mean, I didn't know, and I'm glad you come.
I know, it's kind of like the other thing.
Yep.
So I was going to say something today
All right.
instead of an email later.
Well, I'm glad you did. Yeah, but it will not be an agenda item then for the May meeting, so we'll not, and we'll let it go. We don't have, the ordinance is what it is. The zoning is what it is. There's nothing we can do. So.
Yeah, I can appreciate Sally for what you said too, and so it's opened a lot of our eyes, to this situation, and so with this particular situation, I mean, there are other options and so forth. So, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for helping us. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Starnes, County Administrator, item claims.
You should have your green sheet in your packet. The general fund balance after claims was $7,508,709.97. And your comparison chart shows that we are quite a bit above this time last year. But I will caution, we have 3 items that I know of that's pretty large. They'll take about $2 million of that, so don't get too excited.
Well, it lasted for about 15 seconds.
One of them being school.
Yes.
Okay.
Under claims, your early claims for the month totaled $278,379.40. Some of the larger regular claims are advanced disposal, $29,281.43. Appalachian Juvenile Commission, that's a quarterly payment of $55,980. Lonesome Pine Regional Library, fourth quarter, $50,762.50. Scott County Health Department, fourth quarter, $62,703.50. And Wingate Appraisal Service, first invoice, $33,000 for property reassessment. So total claims for the month that needs approving is $635,951.14.
That Wingate, is that the first payment we've made?
Yes, sir.
They're getting out. They was at my house about a month ago, so they're getting out there. All right. How much is the school system? How much does y'all have in that debitable balance? Do you know?
A little over $900,000. You have that, plus you have the quarterly regional jail payment that's between $500,000 and $600,000, and then the CPMT is $330-ish. So those 3 things together will total around $2 million.
All right. Any questions on the claims? The one thing, and I've asked this before, and you might not even know, but the library costing that much. I know we're in this regional library thing with other counties, but how much is the library using? I know they have the computers there, people come in and use that for obvious reasons, I guess. They come in and do that, but as far as the library itself, as technology, I look at everything I want, I can find on the internet, books or anything. It's on but anyway.
They do a lot of programs at the library for free school age
Right.
and for school age kids, plus provide hotspots at the library. So as far as their usage, I think they stay pretty busy.
All right, I know that in the regional jail always pops up, and I know we don't see anything here. Has there been a change of count of the inmates? And we've had some discussion with some of the other board members about, and Danny may want to address this. This is a question you brought up, I think, actually, Danny.
What I said was, I mentioned to Sally too, that we're having to keep these inmates that should be in the Department of Corrections, and we're having to house them down here, and we're having to pay, they're paying $12 a day or whatever. Costs us probably $24 a day to keep each one of them. If we could use COVID money, if COVID's making us keep them, why can't we use COVID money to pay their jail costs?
I'm working with the regional jail on that to get a concrete number, and I have March through June concrete, and once this year's reconciliation with the regional jail is complete and we have the amount that was actually paid per inmate,
Right.
we will be able, if the board chooses to do so, use COVID money for
Yeah.
that portion.
The CARES Act.
Let's go.
Yes, that's one of the things that we've been working on. We just need to get through June and see what that final number is
Okay.
before we use that money for that.
Great, good.
It's gonna be several $100,000.
It'd help a lot on, I mean, it's cost us more to keep them because of COVID, so that'd be great if you could do that, and I'm sure the other counties are looking at it too.
And we also have, the regional jail reconciliation came back more than was in this year's budget. So it would be my suggestion when we get to the June Board of Supervisors meeting is take that money and prepay toward our reconciliation that we're going to be paying in July. And that will help next year's budget as well as get that reconciliation amount down some. Because it's going to be a pretty good size number, because we're quite a bit over budget.
This next round of COVID money is coming, and I hear about this $4 million that may be coming thereabout.
4.2.
How much?
4.2.
4.2.
Yeah.
Are
It'll
they
come in two pots of money. You'll get half this, it's my understanding, there's nothing concrete out yet. Half this year within 60 days, so probably in June. And then the next half will come next year, a year later. And you have until 2024 to spend that money. But our original CARES Act allocation, we have until December this year.
Most of it gone?
We still have about 1.2 million.
All right. All right.
What about the businesses?
Let me go ahead and say, something that came up at the Leno Wisco meeting. There is money that they have, and I'm hoping the small business in this county will pay attention to this. If they'll go back and pay, they'll have to reimburse them the rent they paid through April of last year up till present. And they can actually get their rent paid. There's money there for it, but they gotta go through the process to get it.
That money's been expended.
But I think there's more coming, what he
There's
said.
more coming.
Yeah, there's more.
But the pot that we have currently has all
Yeah.
been
Okay,
taken
but
care of.
this is additional money the way I understood it. Is that
That's
what
what-
y'all,
Yes,
Mike,
it
that you
is.
understood
Yeah, that's
too?
what I understood.
The
Right.
Scott County businesses did not take advantage of that.
That's what they
like
said,
should.
Wise County, they wore them out in Wise County.
That's
We
it.
did 5 rounds. The first 3 rounds
Yeah.
was county, I'm on that
Right,
group.
okay.
The first 3 were county specific, and then after that, it was open up to everybody to use the next 2 rounds. And Wise County and Lee County businesses really took advantage of it, and the Scott County businesses did not.
So I think Scott County needs to take advantage of it. I mean, that's personally.
Well, they said the money was, they said they need back up, but like I said the other night, there was still money there, so I don't know if it's another round of money. I know if that money's gone, it must be more money coming. I
There's
didn't.
more money, right.
So, anyway.
He said there was more businesses in Wise County than the other 2, was the only reason he gave for that too. So
Right.
we've got businesses that could use that.
If they apply for it, all they gotta do is call, and they just and they can get wheels rolling. It's free money, so.
Call Lenowisco, call.
It's Frank Kimball.
Frank Campbell, yeah, that's what they said. But anyway, get the word out there. If it's available, they need to take advantage of it. I soon see it come in Scott County as Lee or Wise County or City of Norton, so anyway. It needs to be got out there. All right, go ahead. Anything else?
Total claims are $635,951.14.
Need a motion to pay the bills.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Tipton made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Herron, are you okay with that? All right, Mr. Herron, second. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Miscellaneous?
I don't have anything else.
That's all right. Mr. Dixon will not be here, will he, for the
He will not.
PSA presentation? Let me go and say something. We had a meeting with the folks at Duffield, at Lenowisco, with folks off of Cliff Mountain, and it went really good. There was a lot of people there. Was it, 20 people there probably, Selma, somewhere there about?
Probably, yes.
And they've given us some concrete dates now as to when this is going to happen on Cliff Mountain. The bids will go out from, help me here, Selma, the bids go out, I think, June 1st. They're open to bids July the 16th. Construction should start around September the 20th or 1st.
I think it was the first.
Maybe September the 1st. The completion date was May of 22. Now, those people hated to hear that that start date and the completion date, but at least there's light at the end of the tunnel now. But it's actually moving faster than anybody even thought it could ever happen. They've got to get some things done, environmental impact studies done, some things they got to jump through some hoops to get it done, but hopefully it will happen sooner than later. A couple of people there, they were hoping it would be completed by this fall, but it's going to start in September and be completed in May of 22. Anyway, the funding's there. That's phase one. They're looking at doing phase two. Eventually, they're proposing to get the grant money for that. Hopefully, that will happen too. And so anyway, they said they had to go through another winter without water, and they're going to have to. Looks like it's not going to happen any quicker than that. The only thing I suggest, if they could, if the bids goes out June 1st and they open it on July the 16th, that they could shorten that time span. That's 6 weeks for them between the bids and opening, and maybe get the contractor. The contractors they talked to, they're encouraging them to get to it as fast as they could to get started maybe before September. But who knows? It's just hard to get it done. But hopefully that will happen that way. Well, those people are very thankful, this board. They are. They couldn't say enough good to say. They're just so appreciative of what this board has done in getting them water. It's going to be a while, but still it's quicker than usual. Even at that rate, it's a lot faster than what it normally takes. And what happened, getting that grants, they used once a year where they did another round of grants in October, which they usually don't do that, so they fell in at a good time to get that money, to get those grants. And the people that funded it was Lenowisco. They threw some money in. That Coalfield Water Development Fund, the CGSB, is that right? The money come in from that. So anyway, it's about a $700,000 project. It is going to happen. Those people will get water. And got a couple issues too with got to have a pump station, getting the property, the easement for the people that owns that to get that pump station set, and then getting the easement for getting the lines across people. Most of the lines will be on VDOT right away. It's just more like paperwork from them, getting them on board with it to use their right of way as far as putting the water system in. But it's Cliff Mountain. It's called that for a reason. A lot of rock. So they got a lot of rock to go through. Anyway, that's not a Mike Dishman presentation. That's just what happened Monday when we had the meeting down there. And I got to tell you, Frida, I called her Monday morning, getting ready to go for this 10 o'clock meeting at Lenowisco. She said, no, it's 2 o'clock. And I said, I think it's 10. Well, she gave me an overnote. I would have been there 4 hours waiting. It was 2 o'clock, and I had it down to 10. So thank you, Frida, for saving me 4 hours of my time. But I was going 10 o'clock. I really was. But all right. Anyway, comments from each district. Darryl, you first.
I noticed we've got the cameras in at Bill. How are they working? Are they working pretty good?
They're working fine. I have them up on my iPad, Darryl, and if you want to view what they look like after the meeting, any of you, I can show them to you.
Have you got all 5 of them up?
All 5 of them are working.
So where do you have them installed?
Well, we really don't want to
Okay, gotcha.
put that out there. Any
Excellent.
site is subject to video surveillance.
All right. And when we get through with this comments, I want to go back to this 6-year plan thing we have. We'll talk about it. We'll do the comments, and then we'll get back to this, what we talked about selecting the roads for that 6-year plan. Anything else, Darrell?
No, I hope they help.
They've already increased our litter control officers' caseload on investigations and stuff, and have been beneficial to the transfer station, just seeing that they need to get to that site to keep it empty, so they'll be available. They've been a useful tool so far.
I've noticed along the road too, there's a lot of trash. Are they taking people around picking up trash on roads now?
Stacy has a number of people that's in the Assign a Highway program and Scott Services, but I'm not aware that the jails have gotten any crews out.
I haven't seen any, but I have seen a lot of trash. People just drive along, throws it out where they get through eating.
If I could, while Mr. Jeter mentioned that, I want to remind the board and the citizens that April is Scott County's Litter Awareness Month. That we do litter education through our litter control officer. April Addington, environmental teacher at Twin Springs High School, is having a litter pickup that our litter control officer is involved in on April the 17th in Nicholsville between 9 and 1. Has a really cool t-shirt if you want to participate in that, or any citizen wants to participate in that. Also, Stacy has put up 2 billboards about litter education. One is down on Jackson Street, just across from Reed Hollow Road in that area, and the other is on 23 South, out at the 7-mile mark. If you want to take a look at that, hopefully we can get a little more education out there. I know it's unfortunate to look at our roads, and I hope people realize it don't just look ugly to us. It should be embarrassing to us when other people from other areas come into this area, and it may deter a business or industry from locating in our area when they see litter along our roads. So, encourage people to think about the impacts of litter beyond it just being illegal to do. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else, sir? Mr. Jeter? Or Mr. Tipton, sorry.
Yeah, I would like to thank all the staff and the attorney and Frida, Bill, and Amy, she's not in here, Tina, all of you that worked hard and to help make this county go and make us look good. And I appreciate the board, the supervisors. We all have the same common thing, in mind, and trying to help our county go forward. And I would just like to do a kind of a shout out, I guess, for the VDOT issue. People can go online if they have issues. I know there's a lot of people out there have issues with from this last flood. You can go online and you can put that in there, and that's what they want you to do. And they're pretty quick about following up with that. They have their meetings at VDOT, and that's how they determine, where these areas are at. And they want the citizens to be able to go online and be able to do that. That's the whole purpose of it. And that way they can get to them faster and get situations taken care of. And I was pretty much enlightened about what they shared about the machinery to help, with our county and cleaning the ditches and the culverts out and so forth. And that'll be a great help to our county. And I think that's about it. That's all I have.
Mr. Aaron?
Appreciate what everybody's doing. Looking forward to what's going to happen next year or two. Hope everything gets back to normal. It's going to. It'll get back to normal. So, we all of us, I'm sure, has had somebody that's been affected by this virus, and still are. I know some that's got it now, and we've known some kids that's had it, one that passed away here just a few weeks ago. We got to keep moving forward as a county, and everything's going to work out. But appreciate what everybody's doing. That's all I got.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Bricky?
I don't have much. I really appreciate VDOT coming and us getting to our problems of our patrons and roads. And Ms. Kay, we really appreciate you keeping us on track on some things. So that's great.
Sometimes she really does earn her money hard. Yeah. I mean, we stress her out. I know. I do.
And one thing I don't know that much about, but I want to mention anyway. This past weekend, I'm sure we all had problems with our TV and internet. And I think it was a DOS problem. It seems like we've talked about DOS in this building, haven't we? That we need to upgrade it. So on the budget committee, when you get to it, remember what happened this past weekend all over the county with DOS. And we're trying to correct ours before we have any problems.
Anything else?
That's all.
Ms. Hood?
I don't have anything. I'm giving you a break.
Ms. Kirby?
No, I do. I'm just going to echo what everybody else said about the staff and everything. That is a tremendous blessing to have in our back pockets to keep us on the straight and narrow, making sure that we don't overstep our boundaries and that we don't, set a precedent for things that we will regret later on. I think that's great, and I appreciate that. I do appreciate the VDOT people too. I mean, I've gotten a ton of calls about that as well. They talked about Methodist Camp Lane up there. We've talked about that before in the past. I'm glad they're trying to help those folks. That is a terrible situation. And that's all I have at this point.
I don't have anything else. Thank the staff, and I do appreciate VDOT what they're doing. And the VDOT's got dumped on up there on that Methodist Camp thing. It's a creek problem, and they're trying to best live with what the creek is doing. So anyway, I know a lot of people fuss about what they're doing there, but it's better than what they have. Anything, nothing for closed session, is there? Okay. Let's go back to the 6-year plan. Get that paper in front of you, look at it, and how y'all want to go about selecting. And what we do, there's, I know that 659, there's 2 phases of it, and so it'd been one I submitted, but phase 2 is one I would go with if it's selected. That's the western end of that 659.
Did you say phase 2?
Yep, would be the one that I would throw in there. So how do y'all want to, like I say, categorize them 1 through 7? And what you can do if you want to put a number by each one of those that you think should be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, then we can tally them up and go that route.
Can we talk about it? Because I don't think I know exactly where some of these places are.
Okay, sure.
We can go by districts.
We can do that by district.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like that myself. Just more information.
Well, that let's start with 624 B line drive, whatever it is.
Road. Bayline Road.
That's in it's in District 6, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. And so I'm gonna put a 6 up there. All right. And so then the Well Run Lane 821. Where's it at?
Jeter, that's over next to the state line.
Okay, that's District 1. Then 857 Bright Hollow.
District 2, that's up on Highway 58, above the Hilton Ridge, kind of behind where Joe Horton lives.
All right. And then, like I said, 659, I would prefer the phase 2, so that's District 5. Snowflake Road, District 3.
That's the road that goes past the Creation Kingdom Zoo. Part of the initial part is paved, but they still 3.8 miles. It's not. And it's actually paved on the other side. It's sort of, there's about 20 families that's marooned on the unpaid part.
And 669, that's,
Mineral Hills,
District.
District 4, across from the Antioch Waste Center.
okay. Then the Fincastle Road.
And that is down in Duffield,
Okay.
out from Natural Tunnel.
It's District 5.
It is District 5, yeah. Can't talk, Appalachian Caverns, I'll get it out in a minute. It's actually, Cabins, Appalachian Cabins is actually on this, turns off of this road. And I've been contacted by that gentleman a few times about getting that road
That
paved,
one.
because it is a business, you know, and
That
it
was
is
Selma.
a,
The first one.
And he's asked for years.
he has.
How'd be the best way to do this, Sally, you're pretty going, I mean, how's your all's thoughts on the fair way to do this? Select them, one through whatever, and then add them up? How many gets number one, number two, or three? But it's gotta come out, if 1,000,000, say 70,000 is the total, so if we exceed that, and it's not gonna get funded, at least we maybe prioritize those.
That'd be on the next.
I would say,
Yeah, 2026 is the effective year of this, so, yeah.
I think this right here is, you mentioned about phase 1 and phase 2 on the River Bluff. If you did both of those, then that would take up almost.
That's why I took one of them off, I said phase 2. Yeah.
Phase 2.
Yeah, eliminate phase 1.
Well, if you do the 5 small ones, it'll come up to about $1 million, just about take what money you've got the 5 small ones, you know, but that's still, I know, cutting the 2 big ones out, but the 5 small ones comes up to, I add them up right, come up to right at the money. But
1545.
that don't mean that's what we have to do, that's just giving you information.
Well, we could do 3 of the big ones, and it comes out to be $1,050,000 if we did 3 of the biggest ones. And that's what I was, I was looking at the traffic count. Of course, I know personally, on Snowflake Road, I know how many people lives back in there. But you can go by the traffic count. If, on Danny's, if you average that, that's about 130. And of course, Snowflake's 135, and then Quail Run Lane's 130. To me, that's what is important.
I think,
because that's showing the people, the actual people that's living there, and the travel that's on it too.
probably a more comprehensive way of doing it would probably be better as far as the citizens are concerned. I'm not sure exactly what that would entail. That way, district, traffic count, the dollar amount, many different things. That way, we get a good variety across the districts and the county of getting it done, rather than just pulling 5 small ones or just 3 big ones or whatever. A little more comprehensive, I think, would be a better idea.
To do it how? I don't understand, Marshall.
Well, mix it, so if you just pull 3 big ones, then it'd be representative of District 3, okay? And that's not discounting, the high traffic count. I mean, I know they got the high traffic count there. Or if you pull the 5 small ones, then you would be excluding, the 3 big ones, and you don't want to do that. So just make it more
You're saying make
comprehensive.
it sort of divided up.
Yeah, divide it up.
That's why I'm saying, if you take this paper and write it yourself, well, there's 7, and write 1 through 7, and then tally the score.
For each one.
So everybody do that, and then
Yeah, that's how we
then
do
tally
capital
them.
improvement
Yeah.
projects.
Okay.
That's where I got that from. That's why they do that, is to.
Well, is this something we're gonna start doing every year, or how does this work?
This is
will
the
we do
first
it-
time that roads have been added
Yeah.
in
A
years
long
and years
time.
and years.
They was 3 or 4 years, dog, but they was $0. There wasn't any money, and Johnny Ross asked me, he used to be on the board of supervisors, and he said that the money he used to get, he said, why are y'all not doing more roads? Well, we're not getting the money y'all got. And the thing too, back before they did the rural rustic stuff, the stuff they were having to do, the site clearance, drainage, right-of-way stuff, and they're spending a fortune to build a mile of road.
Yeah.
Well, now this rural rustic stuff, they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
They're not doing the widening, they're not doing all of the other stuff they were required to do. Now, pretty what they do is they grade it, smooth it, and pave it. That's about basically what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They do some more than that, but they're not doing what they used to do, the site clearance and all the stuff, straightening curves and all that. They're not doing none of that. The rural rustic is the way to go to get a lot more done with less money.
Since
Am I
Andy and
correct in saying these will be from 2021 to 2026?
The way I understood it, these will go to the bottom of the list, is that right?
They go on the bottom of the
Basically.
list, and these will, by the time the funding gets to them, it'll be 2026.
2026, so I'd say 2026, they'll want more.
Oh, yeah.
Not until 2026.
But, well, like I said, if you want to
Yeah,
do that, like what,
that's
the same way the capital improvement did, you rate these 1 through 7, which one you think should be number 1, number 2, number 3, and then we'll let Frida tally it up. And that's that way, I mean, it's not mine or yours, it'll be combined, how you think they ought to be prioritized.
I suggested to Jackie that they did it, but it's he wanted us to do it, I reckon. I suggested that, just let VDOT, whatever they thought, but,
They know where the need is.
Just make sure you do it the same. If you want your top priority road, number 1, we'll go with the lowest score.
Right.
Or if you want to go with the high score, your top road needs to be number 7.
Well, number 1 would be the top road.
Okay, we'll go with the
Okay,
lowest.
Number one would be the first
Lowest.
priority.
Just make sure everybody's doing it the same way,
Everybody
or
does
we'll
the
know
same,
what's
right.
going on.
well, actually, I guess everybody would put whatever road they turned in as number 1.
Yeah.
I think your
Half
2 and 3
It
will,
could be-
your 2 and 3 will, your 2 and 3
I don't know how.
could be.
Well, it's gonna be the total score. It ain't be, I mean, if I give your road a 3, you gave it a 1, then it's gonna have a 2. So it's gonna be, you may put it number 1, but the time we get through it, you may be number 6.
We can try it and see how it works out that way.
All right?
But you want this sheet?
Yeah.
You have
Find
to,
some
yeah.
mess, I've been writing on it, let's find coffee.
I'll give it back to you.
I'm gonna put my name on mine now. We'll get it back there.
Yeah, put your name on them.
So, again, the high score is what?
1.
Your top pick will be number 1 and then down.
I know he said there'll be a public hearing in May. They don't know what day.
It'll be the Board of Supervisors.
Oh, okay,
meeting.
that's when it'll be. Okay.
If you're not familiar with the road, I think I can bring it up on do the work pretty quickly.
So we've only got 7. Danny omitted the first one.
Well, I
Well,
just
he
put it as
prefers phase 2
Phase
than first.
2, don't vote on phase 1.
Okay.
At 659?
Yeah.
Strike it out. Wait.
Well, we struck that one out. How much money did that leave us with? Anybody counted up?
They all total $2,395,000, so if you take out 475, the 1.8 million.
All right, boys and girls, pass your homework in.
Get your name on it?
Replace them that way.
Mary, these are 2. Would that help?
Not used to doing this.
What was everybody wanting to keep their little vote secret?
Oh,
We
That'd
never-
be the only thing.
Since I've been here, we've
well,
never
no,
had any road.
I guess so.
VDOT.
I didn't write my name on mine. Do you need them?
No, is this yours?
I think VDOT said that.
Well,
But that's okay.
whatever.
Just check to see if I can stand it.
Are you getting old or something?
No, I'm not gonna admit to that.
My neighbor had a tree,
I'm trying not to
big old
look that
wooden
way.
tree, half of it fell into an outbuilding. And the guy come take that half down, he said, I have never, he had a 50-foot boom, it's still 25 feet in there, it was between the two houses. He had to roll all the other parts of it.
Wow.
But anyway, after I fixed the building back, it was, and I did, but it was 4 days.
Yeah, yeah.
2/3 of the roof.
Did y'all turn your light on?
You got lights on?
Is that what this is?
Yeah. Turn your light on.
Hey,
Look at there.
Hey, turn it on.
There's a knob.
Button on the court. They look.
Mine don't have
You don't
a
have one, do you?
You don't have a button?
No, I
That's what
don't.
this is pointing out.
Huh?
Yeah.
We'll keep that.
They've all got them somewhere.
Well, I've got a wire going to it, but I ain't got no button.
I
It's
was,
button broke.
Yours is on. Looks like.
I'm not
No.
easy.
Is it on?
I won't know the button.
Oh, Michael, yours is
It's
it's
on.
out.
It looks like it's
No, it ain't.
It's on the outside.
Go on down.
I see the lights on in it.
How much did this cost us, Bill?
Must be reflecting on.
Well, it
$1,000.
looks like that's on.
I
Yeah.
tried to just give them left your
No. I don't have a button.
They won't like me anymore. They're already mad at me in Wise County.
Well, I was gonna, used to stay mad at me. Oh, they did. Especially when we went from the Highlands into the Lonesome Pine. DC. He didn't like that.
Is this still going on?
No, no.
Oh, wait, baby, it's on YouTube.
Bill, are you on?
YouTube
We're on.
camera on? Yeah.
After the meeting, so I was standing around talking.
Sometimes people mess me up.
We're on there. I'm gonna buy you some tennis balls so you can throw
What'd you
that.
say
I
about
took
me?
that for you the other day.
I said, you
I
really
think
did
that's
write
what
on
it
yours.
is.
I'm
Somebody
trying to find
said,
your
I
name.
told it all
I said,
up.
he is
You'll
not
call me
Malaysian.
on it.
Not Malaysian.
Make sure
Yeah,
you're-
my neighbors told me if I
That
couldn't
might-
get mine,
this is-
I'm just going to
That's
leave
all we
it,
want.
so he said that I
Oh, yeah.
file for you, have a copy to look at as we're going over it.
Yeah, do that.
That would be good.
That'd be
Yeah.
easier when we have something
those would be added on as the
That'd be next in
next
line.
in line, like we've always done.
But it's up to you how you wanna break the tie. I was just going by cost to see how that would turn out.
You said the cost for those was what?
$1,050,000.
That's probably what we should go with then, I mean, the amount, because we can't go over to $1,069,000, so. Use the ranking plus the cost.
So,
to get it done.
So that would get you 4 roads, 4 of the 7.
so that'd be the 250,000 on the, right,
Yeah,
the tiebreaker.
Route 669. In my little box, blanked out your names. The first column, if you want to make a note, is Kruby. Second column is Hood. Third column is Man. Fourth column is Jeter. Fifth column is Tipton. Read the last two. And Hearn and Bricky. So if you want to take your sheet, just verify, put in your ranking correct. Be a good idea.
I said they can have to do that how again?
Take your sheet that you gave me, that you used to rank,
Okay.
and compare it to the spreadsheet and make sure I punched your numbers in
Okay, all
correctly.
right, all right.
We didn't think you'd make any mistakes for this.
I don't think I did, but anything's possible.
I want to ask Lisa, what are you going to do with this, Lisa? And on one hand, I would like to see our final tally recorded, so that the people that are out there that live on these roads know that they've been.
Oh, you're gonna see them. You'll see them next
So-
meeting. I guarantee it. I know you will for ours.
Yeah.
Because they're fed up. They're either gonna have to start
Nobody-
maintaining that road.
But it's like that everywhere. I mean, it's.
Well, they're gonna have to start
Don't do it.
maintaining that road. I mean, it's one of the worst roads that I have ever been on. Something has to be, they've even said they don't care whether it's paved or not, they just need to work on it, need to fix it. And like I say, they've been 30 years trying to get what they've got done, they just ain't done it.
Yours is 671.
Yeah.
It's one of them that's in the top.
Oh, okay. Well, telling it 669 is so close to you, you can claim that one too. Mineral Hill.
I don't wanna
It
claim
runs
none.
over the Hill Springs.
You ought to have to.
I mean, I'll answer the phone, that's all I can do. But it's the worst gravel road I have ever been on in Scott County, I'll just say that. They do not maintain it. They have now, after me and Frida and finally begged them.
They got
But,
potholes a foot deep.
they had a ditch that was 2 foot deep with a creek running through it.
I just got.
I made a video. I've got 50 pictures that day of ditches, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. But anyway,
Well, I was
Mine's
Stephanie's
correct.
number 2 because of natural time. That'll be an asset out there for
Yes.
the cabins, and
The
natural time
cabins.
is the only reason.
I agree.
I've
Of course, I
done,
went by number 1.
if I do Google Maps, like going up to Natural Tunnel, it'll take me that way.
That way, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I was hoping there was.
Yeah. That was
Mine's
good.
correct, you need it back, mine's all right.
Okay, just everybody verified. I wouldn't want to make a mistake on it and it change the scores. So verify everything. But he's asked for his ever since he comes and always asks.
Who?
Roy Baker, that has Appalachian
business. You know, that's why I
Yeah.
feel.
Right.
Yep.
So
That's
they had a
good choice.
record year last
They
year.
did have a record year last year.
How many cabins did he have up there?
4 or 5.
Something like that. I can't remember. He told me 4 or 5.
We're still off the air.
No, you're on there.
We've always been on the air.
Too late now.
Oh, it's something I'd like to bring up, but I just want to bring it up, mainly those three, Frida, Sally, and
Y'all have to go in closed session.
I'll text you on my private Gmail.
Well, no matter how it turned out, it's progress anyway. We're getting to add some roads.
Yes.
We've never done that since I've been here.
That's right, Earl.
There was 34 on there that they come off, and they put back on as they came off. This one, they was $0. So that's what they did. They all came off, and they put them back on as they came off, in the same order.
And the money just didn't come down like
No.
it used to, did it?
No.
What time we've been here.
Yep.
It's just,
Yep.
some years we didn't get nothing.
About 3 or
I
4
was
years,
surprised how much we
$0.
got this time.
And the thing that really got me, there's paving that happens that didn't need it, but they cannot, that goes in that pot of money, and they can't move it to secondary roads. If it's a primary project, then it stays there. And there's times you wish they wouldn't pave that particular road and let us use it somewhere else, but they wouldn't do that.
We even tried to get them to, instead of taking up asphalt that was there and move the money to a different pot.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't go
Couldn't do it. That's what they did.
to where you could get these roads.
I'll tell you one road they paved was a road we travel all the time, Veterans Memorial, there through that. It's 5 lanes wide. The 3 lanes, the 2 emergency lanes, 5 lanes wide. And there was not even a pothole in it. They come in and ground it up and repave, and I mean, their hands are tied to it. It's not just the people higher up that decides that. You put it in this pot and it stays there. You can't move it around to another
It's
project.
allocation, how they allocate it out.
Is there any other discussion?
I believe we're done.
About these roads, everybody's satisfied, except Jeremy's not happy right now.
I'm not happy.
Of course, my road didn't make it either, but.
But that's how it goes.
But they all did make it, so
They'll eventually go on. I think we keep this. It'll eventually go on there in the years to come. It will. It'll take a while to do it, but anyway. Anything else before we adjourn?
You know, they got ahead of schedule because some of these roads that was on that list got done a lot quicker than they thought.
They did. Yeah, and
As they get the money, they might be able to do all 7 of these.
And they come in under cost. I mean, they was able to do more than what they did the first time.
Do you know how many roads are on the list? I mean,
I don't. He'll have that from the meeting next month.
there's about 6 or 8 roads sound right, but they haven't completed construction yet.
I really don't know. I would hate to say and be incorrect.
I think some of them, the COVID kind of slowed down some other things, and that sort of thing.
All right, anything else before we adjourn?
Hey, Danny, we got another meeting?
Budget meeting?
No, I thought we had to meet with Commonwealth Furniture.
We got budget committee, just the 2 of us will be.
Just the 2 of us.
Oh, just 2 of you. Oh, I thought,
Budget
Sorry.
committee on what, Monday?
That's fine.
Budget committee, 9:30, Monday morning. You okay with that? Better be. I done got it in my phone, I don't know how to take it out. Schedule. Anything else before we adjourn?
He wanted to know if it was AM or PM.
I have seen some 9:30 PM, so it's not unthinkable to do that. All right, nothing else, meeting is adjourned tonight.
That is-